Hello, hello. Is this thing working? I think it is. No, it's not working, is it? Okay. Oh, it is working. Never mind. I'm just unaware. Alrighty then. Uh, how is this? How do you do this? I'm old. All right, there we go. It's so strange. The timer goes up and then goes back down, but I'm live. You can see chat, so it means I'm live. Um, yeah, I wanted to talk about this. I was gonna make a video about it, but I thought, I might as well just get my thoughts out there and then maybe later I can make a video just because I have so many videos that I do want to make. Like I have a mini movie that I want to do of the spring split. I have stuff for MSI that I want to make. There's like interviews that I want to produce. There's just a lot of stuff. Also like smaller videos that are more LCS sort of oriented. So I have a lot of stuff that I want to make, and I was like, maybe I can just talk about it now, and then I can actually use the VOD of this as a starting point for in the future when I want to. What is it called? Um, when I want to actually make the video. So the basic premise for this stream is one of the things that a lot of people talk about, and it's pretty well known in the League of Legends community. It's not like I'm bringing up a new hidden gem or something no one's ever talked about. It's collaborations. Collaborations in League of Legends is like, I don't want to say non-existent, but is very shallow. Even when it does happen, it's very, very shallow. Like you look at a lot of the bigger streamers, and obviously they will sometimes collab. In the past, it was a lot more popular with like Mo versus like Yasuo versus Tyler One with like the $10,000 bet that they did. Even last year, I think it was like the Dantas whole thingy that happened, like tournament. Solar Baka did one also, I think last year around April maybe. Um, we had like 36 different streamers. I know Doc Respawn, Dr. Jordan, he mentioned that there was like a tournament that he was going to be subbing for one of the players. So there are a lot of collaborations, especially when it's like tournaments and whatnot, between streamers and whatnot. Not so much for smaller streamers or mid-sized people or even like YouTubers. But the reason I call it shallow is because it's pretty shallow. It's usually league players who are collabing with other league players, which is great. Don't get me wrong. But since I'm focused on like LCS and League of Legends too, but the LCS doesn't really do it very well. Like they'll bring in streamers, they'll bring in, they bring in Double Lift, which not that much. They bring in Miss Chim Chim. I think they brought a couple times. They'll try to bring Courage sometimes. So they do try to do collaborations, but I really think that they're just not. It's very primitive level of collaborations. It's very very dry, very shallow. Um, And in the past, it wasn't like this. In the past, if you played any video game, you would be collabing with any other video game creator, right? And it was known that just because you play Call of Duty and I play League of Legends doesn't mean we can't both enjoy, you know, cross-pollinating, because the number of people that might not even play Call of Duty and see you and start playing Call of Duty because you showed up on a League of Legends stream is non-negligible. I can give a bunch of examples. Personally, myself, I started watching Leffen and Mango because they showed up on LCS streams. I think it was like a C9 video where I saw Mango a couple times. He was just like there with the LCS crew, and I was like, "Huh, okay." And then I saw Leffen, and I was like, "Oh, Leffen and Mango." I saw Mango on C9. He's the guy with the bunch of tattoos. They have a rivalry. They're both on TSM and C9. What is this? Right? And then I got into Smash and I watched Smash for years. I stopped now, but for years I was watching because they were collabing with the League of Legends team. And I think more recently, probably not recently, this is like 3 or 4 years ago now, but uh, from my memory, more recently, the people that really understood this were chess streamers. they just collabed with everyone. They collabed with, League streamers, Val streamers, TFT streamers. There was this whole, was it like the Twitch, not Twitch Rivals. It was like a Twitch event where it was like Chess Kings. I don't know. I don't remember, but I think Pokimane was playing. I think I remember seeing her have a video with Hikaru Nakamura. I remember like Levy was doing some stuff. Um, yeah, just a bunch of chess streamers that started collabing with random play like games that aren't chess, right? And now all of a sudden you have, these 30,000 league players that are being introduced to chess. You have, 50,000 across obviously multiple different streamers, Valorant players or TFT players or Minecraft players that are getting to know chess. Or not even just chess specific chess streamers. And then all of a sudden, even though they've never played chess in their lives, they might not even play. Like I rarely play. I probably watched hundreds of times more Smash than I've played. I probably played it like 3 or 4 times, just like with my friends whenever I go over to the place, I'll play. But, or when I used to go when I was in college, I guess I did play a little bit when I was in college. There was like a game room and my friends would often hang out there. I would go, I would play sometimes. Um, but I've still watched hundreds of hours more Leffen and Mango, than I did play the game, right? I probably could count on my hands how many times I played, Smash, um, which is to tell you that you don't need someone that like, you don't need Smash players in order to bring in Smash players, which is a conception that a lot of people have that is not necessarily true. Think of League of Legends. Just because you play League of Legends does not mean you can only market to people who play League of Legends. Like someone who's watched Arcane has never played the game before might watch because you're a Jinx main, and Jinx is by far their favorite character. They just love Jinx, right? I almost called her a champion, but she's a character in the show, which is whatever. Um, People who have maybe played Wild Rift, right? They're or not even Wild Rift. What's the other one? MOBA Legends or whatever. Maybe they just enjoy watching you play League of Legends. They enjoy you talking about the game. They enjoy you talking about the lore of the story because they don't know the lore of the story. Maybe people who were fans of books, readers, right? Fantasy books, Game of Thrones fans, like Song of Ice and Fire. Uh, they might enjoy watching you talk about or play a specific champion because you know their story and their lore very well, and you talk about it quite often on your stream. It's just things like this that we don't really understand how big these markets sort of intertwine. And I can give real life examples, and I think these examples can kind of show how the cross pollination is actually a lot bigger on social media and on Twitch and on YouTube and for LCS teams as well than it is for. Sorry, it's getting a little distracting. What happened? Aw. All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, I can give real life examples. So let's say you own like a comic book store or I don't know, a car shop, like whatever it is. Like this, is you own a restaurant, a store. So let's say a restaurant, right? Because that's I think everyone can kind of relate to that. A pizza place, right? You're like I don't know, Johnny's Pizza Place, in some strip mall somewhere, right next to a gas station, and um, one thing that you could do is you could appeal to pizza lovers, right? You could do a lot of content for TikTok or YouTube or whatever for pizza lover. Like, look, we make these amazing pizzas and yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, you're gonna appeal to people who like pizza, right? You could also appeal to pasta lovers. You could appeal to general food lovers. But that's not what I'm talking about. That's what I mean by shallow, right? I don't want you to focus on that. But what you see a lot of people do is they'll go to like comic book stores, right? And they'll have like Wednesday D&D nights, right? And people who often go to this restaurant, they'll have like, I don't know if you're a member or whatever, some sort of collaboration. You have people who come in and play D&D to this restaurant and they'll like host you guys or like with a wine shop that's across the street, you'll have like Thursday night wine tasting, and then you have people who are really passionate about wine or coffee or whatever sort of drink, but beverages, and they're getting exposure to your store. And it's the same, like it goes the other way around. People who like pizza. or like Italian food. All of a sudden, they're taking an interest in something that a hobby, something that they never actually thought that they would do. They're more of a, a tea kind of guy, and now all of a sudden they're actually drinking coffee once a week, or maybe they're buying some coffee for friends, even though themselves don't drink coffee. So it's these types of collaborations that are more um, that need to happen because at the end of the day, like when you look at LCS viewership, a lot of what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the people who play League of Legends into watching professional League of Legends. But I don't necessarily think that that is the only place that we can find people for your organization, especially for LCS orgs. Because guess what? Most teams are not only LCS teams. And I think they don't utilize that enough. Like Shopify has a they have a Dota team. They have a I'm pretty sure they have a Rocket League team. They have a Valorant team. I don't know anything about them, right? I feel like the cross pollination is very little. I haven't really seen Wild Turtle or Bvoy or Insanity playing, I don't know, Rocket League with someone, or just bringing up the idea that they have a team and just cross pollinating their audience. And you could argue like, oh, they have such a small audience. What's the point? Still, like I think it's especially beneficial for people who are smaller creators like myself. And that's something that I try to do. I'm just not very good at it because I feel like people don't really appreciate it online. Like I reach out to a bunch of people. People who talk to me will know that I do try to reach out. I called, and that's how I got my start to begin with. I messaged like over 100 different people on Twitter, and a couple of them agreed to do interviews with me, and that's how I got my start on YouTube to begin with. Well, that's one of the ways, but yeah, that's how I got my start into interviewing specifically. So I am trying to get more collaborations. I would love to do collaborations with Civ 6. Like Civ 6 is a game that I enjoy. I play it every now and then. I watch it every now and then, and it's like one of my favorite games of all time. And I would love to do more collabs with people from the Civ 6 community, whether they play League or not. I don't really care. It's more of like maybe someone will actually play the game because of me. Maybe someone will just watch my interviews because they enjoyed my interviews of a Civ 6 player, for example. And even though it's like a league thing, maybe they played League back in high school and they haven't played it touched in years. It's the thing that reaches so much larger than we expect. And this is sort of like a marketing concept that is often taught to people is that you don't understand how big the reach is, even if you're in such a small niche. So, especially for people with small niches. So, I would consider gaming to not be a small niche, but it's not like food, right? Every human being alive eats food. Um, Gaming is probably a lot bigger than League of Legends. But things like TV shows and movies are probably a bigger niche than gaming. It's just that objectively they are, right? And one thing that is very important for smaller niches to do is to get into larger niches. So for example, if you're a League of Legends player, collabing with, someone who's like a basketball player or a soccer player or a football player, you're probably getting a lot more eyeballs, right? Than so you're collabing with someone bigger than you, which is not always applicable. Like you can't always do that, but in some instances you can. Like again, going back to the analogy of if you're a restaurant, you don't necessarily need to collab with another restaurant or another business. You can do it with an influencer. You can be like, hey, come over here. I know that you host like I don't know, smash nights. Like we'll set up a bunch of monitors. You guys can have it in like a back room in this restaurant or something. That's not exactly how it works, but that's just an example at the top of my head. Maybe you can do like if you're a trading card game like a Yu-Gi-Oh kind of thing, and you have like a local Yu-Gi-Oh influencer, you could tell them, "Hey, we'll set up some tables. You guys can play some a small tournament. We'll have like a small little prize over there." That's another way. Like the old school way of like Facebook ads, where it was like 13 cents per like view is gone, right? It's like 200 times more expensive than nowadays than yeah, whatever. It's much more expensive to get in front of a person using ads. It's much more expensive to even like TikTok. TikTok back in 2020, 2021 it was so easy for you to get in front of people, right? Because there was a lot of demand and very little supply. Nowadays, it's not like that. You can still get in front of a lot of people. You can still grow a big TikTok. It's not as easy as it used to be, right? If you're good at it, I'm personally not good at TikTok and I don't really try much with my TikTok. I'm more focused on my YouTube, but I'm sure if I got better at my TikTok, I could get in front of a lot of people. Um, Same thing with YouTube. Like, I don't think I'm nearly as good as a YouTuber that I can be. I think by the end of the year, I will be 10 times better, whether it comes to live streaming, whether it comes to like the editing of my videos, whether it comes to like myself as being an interviewer, whether it's like the type of things that I'm showing, the way that I'm showing, the method that I'm using to explain things. I think all those things, how entertaining my videos are, all those things I think I can improve on. But I think I'm going off topic a little bit. Mainly it's like a lot of times we are so caught up in the past. I think LCS orgs are caught up in I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think they find it important. I think that they really think that if you win, you what is the word? You make fans, and that's the only way you can make fans. And they know that that's not true, but they still chase it. And I'm not here to crap on Team Liquid or anything. Um, which I already had a whole stream doing that. I'm not specifically talking about Team Liquid because they're not the only ones. Um, that do that kind of stuff. There are teams that try, and when they find that it's something that takes a long time to do, that it's something that you need to try for years, right? You don't just do something for a couple months and be like, "Oh, we're done," right? Any business that's trying to grow doesn't just say, "Hey, we have money." Like if you're doing something poorly and you're doing it for a short amount of time, why do you expect yeah, like what do you think is going to happen if that's the case? Um I think that now sort of shifting from just general League of Legends collaborations to LCS, a lot of LCS teams have or like have different games and have streamers that they don't really utilize to bring into like the LCS ecosystem. Not just that, there are other LCS teams. Pros is an amazing way of connecting different players. But my question is, you have Ayla, you have was it who else? Who did Ayla play with in Academy? Oh, yeah, he played with Team Liquid, right? He played with Yeon. You have Ayla and Yeon, you could easily get them on an episode to talk about stuff, and all of a sudden you have 100 Thieves fans cross-pollinating with Team Liquid fans. And you might be like, "Well, if they want the same league, then they'll have the same like, they'll obviously, um" what's the word? Like, they already know about Team Liquid. Yeah, but you're getting more eyeballs. You're getting maybe showing a different personality. You're giving them different opportunities to like and maybe watch your content in the future. Maybe they're not a fan, but they still watch your stuff, right? That's something that you would want. There was that Pros episode with Ayla, Yon, and Armeo reunited. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Armeo played with them as well. A lot of people didn't even know that they played together, right? And maybe Armeo all of a sudden has more fans nowadays because he showed up with Jan and Ayla, who are on more popular teams. And maybe people who are like the 7 IMT fans that exist are suddenly now, Team Liquid fans in the finals because, hey, he played with Armeo and they're huge Armeo fans. Um, Welcome, Robin Banks. But yeah, it's not just that. You can look at it in a different perspective. You can have a streamer for IMT, for example, Jelly is a IMT streamer, and I don't know what numbers she pulls or whatever. It's just a random because we were talking about Armeo and IMT, and you have FlyQuest, and you could do something where Jelly plays with. Oh, I don't even know what role she plays. To be honest, I don't remember. But let's say she plays ARAMs with a couple of the FlyQuest members. Right, all of a sudden you got her audience who probably doesn't even watch the IMT like LCS, all of a sudden they're brought into LCS not only through like an IMT member, but they're brought into a completely different team, right? So that's another type of collab. Then you can take it another step. I don't know what team Hikaru was on. I know he was on TSM, then he went to Misfits. I haven't watched Hikaru in a very long time, so I don't know. But let's say Hikaru was still on team, right? You could get Hikaru Nakamura to play with I don't know, Hundred Thieves, for example. All of a sudden you have an let's just call him a Misfits because I don't know, whatever. A team, a different team, different player, different games. He plays a little bit of League of Legends. You play a little bit of chess. You're cross pollinating these these avenues that otherwise there it's not just about Hikaru, like, it doesn't have to be Hikaru, it can be someone smaller. The idea is you wanna take all these opportunities to collab as an LCS organization, because at the end of the day, LCS viewership is peanuts, right? Like, compared to what it was in 2015, 2016, it is nothing like it, and if you wanna get it back, you're not gonna get it back by doing nothing, right? I think we've established that doing the same thing over and over again has not worked, right? And we tried to make league format changes, this and that. It just hasn't done it. And so I think now it's time to take the mantle and say, okay, what can we do? What are businesses doing and how can we utilize that? So if you go back to my example of if you're a restaurant and you have a coffee shop and you collab with them, that sort of collaboration or a wine shop or whatever it is, like an anime, like if you're collabing with different creators, how do we as a LCS team, as a LCS organization, utilize that? If you look at the other method of streamers, I think we talked about that. Streamers is a big thing. Like if you're signing a streamer and not utilizing them, yeah. So obviously you need to be producing your own content, right? It's not going to happen just by showing your face to them. If you collab with the biggest streamer on earth, I don't know who that is, but let's just say it's Tyler One because I don't know. Let's just say you collab with Tyler One. If they then go to your YouTube channel and then see that you're not producing content or that it's very scarce or that it's not very good, they're not gonna stay, right? So not only do you need to get their eyeballs, but you need to give them reasons to stay. So those are a couple things that LCS organizations, LCS content team can really do. I think it would be really cool to have rotating guests of different, niches or different games or things like that. I also think that while teams do make good content, and I bring this up probably every time I talk, they really don't. Judging by the views here, it's already dead. Hey, Pachani. No, I'm pretty small. I think I've only done a couple of live streams, so I don't think that League of Legends is dead. I think League of Legends is a very very large has a very large audience. I'm just not the biggest creator, so 4 people for me is pretty big, to be honest. Normally, I hover around 2, maybe peak at 4, but I've had 4 consistently. So thanks for checking out the stream. But yeah, it's mainly about how there's not collabs, and collabs are usually very, very, very shallow. Like they don't go cross games, they don't go cross topics. Whether it's maybe you collab with an IRL streamer, not even a streamer, maybe like a chef, right? It would be so cool to collab with like a famous Korean chef, especially for what's that team? Team Liquid. They have a bunch of Koreans to be like, oh snap, this is food that I used to have when I was a kid, back when I used to live in Korea or stuff like that. But you're not bringing any of those people who care about Korean cooking being Team Liquid fans because you didn't even think that there could be League of Legends players or people who might be interested in a team made of mainly Koreans playing in a North American region. Like you didn't think of that. Um, it's so weird because if any other business couldn't answer the question of why should people give you money, it'd be absurd. But esports are like Coast on doing nothing, collab with Fake God's mom. Oh, dude, exactly. Fake God mom could be straight up the most popular, more popular than Capsa's dad. I think Capsa's dad is like the most famous sort of like parent of a player that supports their player. Fake God mom could straight up just be the best Korean chef that they have. Yeah. It's funny that everyone knows about that. Like Fake God has been gone for so long, and people remember Fake God's mom more than they remember Fake God. Um, but yeah, I don't know if she has a YouTube channel, but that would be pretty cool. You could become popular with the moms. Hey, man, I'm just saying. There's a avenue. I don't know that that's exactly where you want to be marketing, but yeah, with your comment to like, why should people give you money to IMT? I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I think IMT has tried a couple things. They've actually the reason I know about You Jelly was because IMT, the organization, the LCS team, collabed with or brought her to talk League of Legends with League of LCS fans, and that's why I know about her. I know they brought her to their fan fest. I didn't go myself, but I saw some pictures of her. She was holding like a dude. There's this guy going around tables, and I think he stayed at the Shopify stall, but he was going around stalls, and he was making, like, you show him a picture, and he would make it through from balloons, and I think Usually showed him like a Poro, and he made a Poro from balloons. It was really cool. I think it's on the Immortals Twitter, or maybe Ujelly herself tweeted. I don't know, but it was really cool. Um, yeah, why should people give you money? Honestly, they shouldn't. Like, you should be the one giving them stuff. If you're Immortals, you should be pumping content. You should be giving us reasons to watch your stuff. Like, asking us for money to buy your stuff, or sponsors, like, you are not in any position to be doing that. You have a huge following from, like, way back when, and zero engagement. Like, it's actually sad what's going on with Immortals. Um, and even myself, I was excited for the Sharks team because I like Sharks. I like what he does. He's always been community involved, right? Even when he would go on streams with people with like 4 or 5 viewers at a time, and he would talk about FlyQuest. If you want to talk about FlyQuest, he was there, right? And then at some point, like, Immortals brings him on and starts a project, and then they cut him like that, which is really sad. So I don't know. I'm becoming a bit of a Mortal hater. If a famous celebrity personality has some sort of connection to League, maybe they watch or play League, do you think there's value in having them on a live LCS broadcast? Alejandro, I do think there is value for sure. I do think that the LCS has in the past like dropped the ball on those kind of things. They had Mr. Beast, and they did not utilize his face. Right? You see people who will just put Mr. Beast in their title and thumbnail, and then have a clip of him and make so many like get so many views. And the LCS really didn't do that. They really didn't play into that. I do think there's value. I think more than just that, it would be super cool if they brought a celebrity to talk with the players and have it on their YouTube channel. So I do think that the live streams are great places, but the problem with live streams is that they don't advertise it well enough. Whereas if you take that clip of that live stream and make it into a separate YouTube video, it's so much easier to title, thumbnail, and advertise for that kind of stuff. Similar to how like Gordon Hayward did in the past. I specifically because Nikola Jokic interview. Yes, dude, it would be so cool if you had a collab between like Nikola Jokic and the LCS, and he can come up and maybe play a couple games or talk about it on the broadcast, and it can be like a even if it's like a co-stream that gets him to be on there, or it's like a second stream where it's like a super beginner friendly, like, hey, if you're bronze or like I don't know, but like gold or below, this stream is for you. We're gonna have Nicole Jokic on. We're gonna have like a much more dumbed down version of the broadcast where maybe we're not using ability names, and we're kind of describing what Jinx's E does, her traps, right? We're calling it traps instead of Jinx E or things like that. I'm 32 kids who got into League 2 years ago because my teenage son played. I was 50,000 hour Dota. Oh my god, I'm so sorry for you, Trash Lacan. 50,000 hours Dota 2 player in my 20s, and now I no longer play League of Legends. I only watch. I watch LCS international events. I think LCS is a good product. We're on player stories. I agree. I think that they are moving in a much better direction. I talked with Raz, who's on the broadcast, about this extensively of how the LCS really needed to like stop trying to make this is why this team is cool. This is why that team is cool. This is why this team is cool. This is why that team is cool. Like just forget that, and this is why the LCS is cool. Look at the players we have that are playing. Look at the teams that we have. Look at what we're offering to the teams. Right? We are a stage, and these are the people on the stage. And I think they did a much better job. Kind of sad that all of his stuff would have been so much easier in like 20, but all yes, we hired again and be player to yeah, I agree. In 2016, I mean, we definitely squandered. When I say we, I wasn't obviously doing content, but I was still a fan back then. Squandered a huge opportunity. 2016, honestly, 2020 was like only a few years ago, right? And TikTok was exploding, and the LCS did nothing. The LCS did nothing. It's so criminal. It is criminal that you have marketing managers that see the explosion of what was happening and not utilize that. You know how huge the LCS could have been back then? It grew because everything on Twitch grew, but it did not grow nearly as much. There are so many Twitch streamers that only exist because of TikTok in 2024. Not even 2020. In 2020, people just like exploded. You have people who disappeared off the face of planet, like King Batch. He disappeared after Vine. He came back. He is still a mainstay. You have all of people like Anwar and like people who are doing little sketches. You, as an LCS org, I don't see any reason for you not to sign someone like that. Get someone who does sketches about nothing related to League of Legends, and just have him, be part of your team. And that way, Immortals, not only do they do League of Legends, they do sketches. They have these streamers that do, or these content creators that do cool stuff, and then you cross pollinate. But has anyone ever thought of that? I personally have not seen anyone do anything like that. I have not seen any like um LCS org or even any other esports org have someone who just straight up doesn't do anything LCS related, or esports related. It's maybe some live vloggers. I don't know. Maybe there's stuff like that, like IRL streamers. But in general, I haven't seen someone who makes like um, skits be on an esports organization, which I think is a huge waste because guess who likes comedy and entertainment? People who watch streams because or play video games because that's entertainment too, and there's huge cross pollination there, and you could even get their players to be on there that there, and there's a lot of opportunity for collabs, which is why I did this, and it's something that I'm trying to get better at. I'm pretty small, so people don't really respond to my messages or don't want to like collab with me, which I get it, right? It's I try to find people who are similar size to myself, and normally people similar size to myself give up. It's kind of sad, but they do it for a couple months. They're like, "Oh, I thought I was going to become, the next Mr. Beast. I'm not," and they disappear. So I'm still working on it. It's not like I'm not. I would love to do other games like with other fields. Like it would be really cool if I did stuff with people like Portuguese speakers because I speak some Portuguese or Korean speakers, Arabic speakers. I speak a bunch of languages. It would be really cool for me to collab with them, even if it's nothing to do with League of Legends, even if it's like poetry, right? Like I'm a huge fan of Arabic poetry, and I've read in the past. I've read a bunch of Arabic poetry. It'd be really cool if there was like this guy who just does poetry in Arabic to like explain some cool old like back from Mu'allaqat Labid or whatever, like the Mu'allaqat, and just explain it, and I just enjoy it. And all of a sudden, people are like, "Oh, there's this random League of Legends in North America guy who's talking about poetry." That's just an example, but yeah, there's also what Trash Lakan was talking about, where he used to be a Dota player and he became started watching League because his kids, I think, right? Yeah, his kids got into League. Um, his teenage son. That's another area. Like you could go to the Dota community and you could get them to see that you play League. A lot of these teams, Shopify has a Dota team, right? And I think at some point they were pretty good last year. You could easily cross pollinate those two because they're both MOBAs. It'd be really cool to see like Dota 2 players playing League of Legends or League of Legends players playing Dota 2. I know that a bunch of them came from Dota to begin with, so it might not be as crazy as it sounds. Um, but yeah, I mean, we have like a live example in Trash Lakan of someone who got cross pollinated. He didn't even play League. He doesn't even play League of Legends now. He just watches. Um, so I do think there's a lot of opportunity for LCS organizations, for LCS players, for content creators, for basically everyone to utilize collabs in a way that have not been utilized. And I think it's pretty sad that we see this in so many different aspects of our lives, different creators, different this, different that, but we do not see it in like LCS. I don't understand. This is another gripe I have with LCS is that there's so many things that work and then they just do the things that don't. It's mind-boggling to me. The LCS or teams, the LCS as a league, I don't understand it. I really don't. Um, I wish I could speak to like the marketing manager of a bunch of these teams and the LCS and just ask them like what year are we in? Because sometimes I see stuff that they do and it's like, man, this is when I was a kid. Like whoever is on this marketing team must think it's the 1990s, but it's not the 1990s anymore. Radio is not a thing anymore. Like I still remember radio ads from my time as a kid, right? There was the 1877 cars for kids, the nature car today, KARS cars for kids. It was like cars spelled with a K. And that was very, very successful. They got in front of a bunch of people and it was a great ad. But if you try to go radio now, the amount of people you're going to appeal to is not worth the price at all. And so that's why social media is a thing. That's why social media marketers are a thing. And it just feels like we're living in the past. Even even if it's like 4 years in the past, you have people who are only now getting on TikTok or think that there was a while where Facebook had changed one of its policies, and so Facebook Reels were just like amazing for organic distribution. Like you just post on Facebook, it was an amazing place to post on. And I had a bunch of like reels that were like 100,000 plus views. I don't know why I stopped on Facebook. Something happened, but I don't remember what. But yeah, it was a great place to post on, and I think now that I'm saying this, I'm gonna start posting on there again. I don't remember why I stopped, and no one took advantage of that. I didn't see a single LCS org. I actually saw Faker, like T1 Faker, posting on Facebook, and I didn't see any organization posting there. Clearly, he has a good agent or a good marketing manager or whatever it is, but yeah, it's a bit sad the way things are, and I think that League of Legends takes zero skill though. Well, the game might take zero skill, but the marketers are not doing their job. Even with LCS starting to do YouTube Shorts, I assume they're also on TikTok. I don't have it. It's pretty sparse. It is. It really is sparse. That's one thing that I talked to Raz about, and he was like, "We have to start somewhere. This is where we're starting, and you can judge us based on the next 6 to 12 months." But at the end of the day, they had budget cuts. This is not what he said. I'm just like interpreting. They had budget cuts, and the marketers can be like, "We should do shorts. How many shorts is good? I think we should do two a week, right?" And then they end up doing two a month. And sometimes on live, something happens. That obviously be a great clip. Exactly, exactly, exactly. The, the clip of the Renekton, right? 1v3 against Jojo, like, the one from Team Liquid versus C9. That should have been on there immediately. Like that shouldn't be something that you put like the next year or a weekend later when all the hype is dead. There's so many things that like the Yawn trash talk should have been up there immediately. It was on like a couple days after the finals on TikTok. I didn't see YouTube Shorts, but I think they're getting better at it. And honestly, this is just like my conjecture, but I think that the reason they started doing TikTok was because the LPL TikTok hit over 1,000,000 viewers. That's my honest like guess as to why they did that. I'm gonna check to make sure that they're over 1,000,000. I'm not confusing the TikToks, but I think they were looking at the LPL TikTok and we're like, "Oh, why is this happening? What is going on?" LPL English, I think, is the English. Because these are all. Wait, why is it not showing up? Uh, I never use the desktop version, so I have no idea. Oh wait, you can't search channels on here, can you? Uh, okay, there has to be a way. LPL. That's what LPL official. Oh, it doesn't have 1,000,000. It has 166,000. Is this really the one? Man, last time I haven't. Yeah. Oh, okay. It had hit 1,000,000. It had a bunch of TikToks that hit 1,000,000 views. I think that's what I was confusing because yeah, there's one here. There's another one here. There was the one with the Bard thing. This is a 1.5 million. But yeah, I think they saw that and they were like, wait a second, this is like something that we could be doing too. And they got someone to do it, and they're not nearly as good as that person. And they're getting better. So I'm glad that they're starting to do it. I just think that it's very slow. When YouTube Shorts like 2 years ago was a thing, I think it came out around 2 years ago or maybe a year and a half ago. I don't remember exactly. Like that should have been the time you were on there, and they weren't, and so they're suffering the consequences um, because they're. I feel like we're always behind. It's so frustrating when something new and cool comes, and we don't utilize it. And the things that are old and don't work, we like focus on that, and things that are old and work and still work today, we just like ignore them. It just makes no sense. I really hope to see more games collab with League of Legends. I can see why the LCS themselves wouldn't wanna bring Dota streamers on or, like, Dota players on. They don't like competitiveness or whatever. Um, but I mean, come on, at least as an organization, if you have a CS team, like, come on, utilize that. Especially they don't have to have bigger viewers than you got, like bigger numbers than you. That's not the only way collabs work. I would just to reiterate, I would love to see different collabs in different genres, right? Whether it's movies or TVs, comics. It doesn't even have to be video games. It doesn't have to be nerdy stuff. It can be like, I don't know, maybe you have C9 has Madeline, but I don't think she's like a public facing. Let's just pick who has Basil. Basil is FlyQuest, there we go. Like, if you look at her, she almost always has her nails done, at least in the stuff that's public facing. You could have, like, some beauty salon or someone who's, like, a beauty influencer, like, teach some cool stuff about like, you might be like, "Oh, gamers don't care about this stuff." That's fine, right? Guess what? A bunch of, like, males who are watching that are gonna be like, "I don't care about that." But then you're gonna have all the females that follow that specific content creator be like, "Oh, I'm a Basil fan now." Because she's like she draws cats and they're really cute and she's part of FlyQuest and FlyQuest cares about trees and they're a really cool organization because they do all this cool stuff. And all of a sudden, you tapped into a completely new niche that you didn't know about. And you'd be like, "Oh, but chances are men don't follow her." Yeah, you already have men. You might as well get some females, you know? Um, I would really like to see a bunch of stuff like that. Like I said, personally, I will try to find people that I can collab with or do stuff like that. One thing I've been thinking of is going to smaller game communities and maybe trying to do interviews for them, like games that I understand, obviously, like Civ 6, for example. That they have a pretty vibrant, professional scene. It'd be really cool if I could just, asks questions as someone who's not a professional at all. I can speak to professional league players a lot better than I can speak to professional Civ players, but I can speak to both. Trust me, I played the game for like hundreds of hours. Or people who play crap, what's that game called? The Dungeon and Dragon game, Idle Champions. I played that game for hours. I could talk to people about it all the time. Unfortunately, there's no like pro scene or anything, but I would still love to collab with someone like that. I think that would be really cool. Um, yeah, I think that generally covers why I think obviously the title of the stream is a little tongue in cheek because I don't think it's actually gonna die. I do think it's on the decline, but I think dying might be a strong word to use. I used it just because I couldn't think of a better word to use, but I do think it can be easily revived. And here's another thing, actually, I kind of forgot this. I had this in my notes. Even with big streamers, they struggle to collab. Even with people who have every opportunity to collab, it is a struggle for them because I think it was Solar Baka, or no, it was Dantes. I don't remember. It was someone they were talking. There was like they had this whole like what was it called? Diagnosis, I think, back in July of last year. And they had a bunch of streamers on there, and it was kind of like the Austin show where you would find like a date, but or find love. But instead of that, you would just get a host of like a bunch of people, which is a cool idea. I don't know that it still goes on. I only saw like part of an episode. But they were talking about how it's difficult for them to collab or do things like that because it's more effort than they're willing to put in. Because they want to do the minimum amount of effort. They want to wake up, they want to press start stream, and they want to stream. By the end of it, they're exhausted. They don't want to organize stuff. They don't want to talk to me, reach out to people, do all this stuff. It's not hard. It's just too much effort compared to what they can do. And I think that's what I call coasting, right? Um, and I think LCS organizations, LCS team owners, they coast, right? I think who was it that brought up Immortals earlier? Was it Robin? Yes, it was Robin Banks. Robin Banks was talking about Immortals, and it's like it's really hard for anyone to like be a Immortals fan. And I think specifically said like any other business it would be very weird if they couldn't answer the question, "Why should you give me money?" Right? It'd be absurd. But esports or like mortals are just like doing nothing. They're coasting. Oh, you use the word coast as well. Few people watching. I think the subject is that's funny. Nelson Mandela. Oh, that's cool. Um, I don't know that the subject itself is dying. I think, I'm a pretty small streamer, so, I've only streamed a couple of times, so this honestly, I have like 6 people watching right now. That's a lot. I think I've had 6 people like one other time. So I actually think that it's the opposite. This is a lot of people for me. Even 3 people is like what I used to max out at. So 3 people's more than enough um, for me as a new streamer. I don't even know if I'm gonna continue streaming. I like making videos, but I did want to talk about this. Welcome. Um, Breaking Cloud City concurrent view. We are. Actually, I think when I talked about Team Liquid, I hit like 16 or something. I can check real quick, but I am pretty sure I hit like 16. And then I lost 16 subscribers, actually, which is funny. I lost 18, I think, actually, from that one video, that one live stream, which is hilarious to think about. But why I hate Team Liquid? Where is the concurrent viewers? Yeah, the peak was 14. It was 14. But still, this is still way higher than normal. Normally, I have like literally 1, 0, maybe 2. Um, I lost my train of thought. I was talking about Immortals, but I can't remember why. Oh, because they're coasting. Yeah. Uh, a lot of teams just coast and don't try to do other stuff. And then they don't put enough resources into like growth. All your resources are into your professional team. And you think that as long as you make a little bit of content around that, that is enough. It's just not true. We've seen it. Look at 2015, look at 2014. 9 years apart, 10 years of data points. It is not true. It is objectively false. So we need to take other methods. And I think Jack himself said it best in the press conference with team owners. He said back in August of last year, so it was around spring finals. Um, he said that he was talking about Disguise, and he was like, "We are professional competitors. We are not content creators, and we're really excited to learn from Disguise because he is a content creator first, and that's stuff that we don't do very well. And so we're excited to learn." And I will say that from last year to this year, they have improved their content game by a lot. They started producing more content, and the content that they're producing just has more segments. I think they're going to continue on improving, but they have actually learned from that. And I do hope to see more of that. It's interesting that I have a similar to David Teal's approach to brand building, but my love for MT maybe temporarily forgot all that. Why do you enjoy MT so much, Robbins? Um, yeah, I think Team Liquid is just strange. I don't see how as a team owner you can go publicly and be like, you know, that sort of like fatty stuff of like making videos with like thumbnails and that stuff, like that's gonna build fans. That's literally how every fandom is built. Like it's so frustrating because like this is the modern way, and you're talking about we want people to think that we uphold work ethic. That when people see Team Liquid, they think of our values and morals, and it's like, oh my god, this is like, man, is Steve living in the 2000s? What is going on? Um, I was a fan of him since Jin Air. Oh, okay, I was pretty excited about him coming to the LCS. He told me he was better than Pyosik. I think he's more fun to watch. I don't know that he's better than Pyosik. Is this on Twitch too? No, Glenn. It should be. I should be on Twitch, but I have not figured out how to dual stream. And I think the only way that I found out how to like dual stream required me to pay money, and I don't make that much money off of YouTube. So I was like, I don't know that I want to do that. But I now that you mention it, I will look into how to dual stream on Twitch. Like if there's like a free ad or not ad, a free mod or something that I could use to you know who does it? David. I should ask David. I'll actually message him as soon as I'm done. I'll put that down. Ask David. Oh my god, I spelled his name completely wrong. Dual stream. All right, thank you, Glenn. I also normally watch people's streams on YouTube if it's available. Like if I had a choice, I would always watch it on YouTube. So I like the player. The player is just so nice on YouTube compared to Twitch. Like you can't scroll back. You can't like if I miss something, I can go back, play it on like a little bit faster speed, catch up to what's going on. Especially League of Legends, I could just 2 times speed or 1.5 speed, or like skip through the parts that I missed and then just get to the part where I want. It's just so much nicer. But I do realize that Twitch has its benefits too. So I'll try to be on Twitch as well. And I'll try to not always just talk about. I don't consider this. Yeah, I don't consider this channel to be like doom and gloom. Like, oh, LCS is dying. I hate Team Liquid, but I do want Twitch chat. Just not, yeah, that's the thing. I think the chat. I agree with that. There are some streamers that I watch that don't go on YouTube that I will watch them on Twitch, and it's kind of nice to have all the emotes and whatnot. I know YouTube's trying to do that, but Twitch is just a little nicer. Um, but yeah, I think I've been talking about some pretty sad topics or depressing, not depressing, but like doom and gloom topics. But that's just because it's off the top of my head, I guess. There are a lot of stuff like initially what I was going to do for today was I really wanted to talk about what I enjoyed about the spring split of LCS, and then like an hour before I was doing something, and then I remembered. Oh, I think I was trying to message someone to collab with, and I was like, "Man, I wish LCS teams did that." And you're like, "You know what? Screw this. I'm going to talk about it for almost an hour now, 50 minutes." um, but yeah, you're a fan of Umtiong Jin Air. Pioshik is playing pretty well, I think, on DRI. Like he and Damwon, he had some pretty cool like carry games. I think he's up and down for sure, but I don't know who's necessarily better. I think he's a better fit for Team Liquid, sure. By far, I will say he's a better fit because he brings that sort of light moodness to what seems to be a very serious team. Like Impact is very serious. I also like Piercek, but he was overrated, right? But he's overrated right now. I haven't watched enough LCK this year to really say that, especially Damwon. Like, yeah, I didn't think that team was going to be good, but apparently they are. Um, he's overrated. I do think when he came to Team Liquid, he was so overrated. And even that, like in the spring split, he finished ninth. I mean, he went from being a world champion to finishing ninth. You can't tell me that's he wasn't overrated. Yeah, I think that was one of the very strange pickups of that season, of that off season. I would have loved if they picked up a different jungler or, give Armeo a shot or whatever, but they wanted the Korean team. They wanted TLCK, and they got what they got. Um, I think I covered everything in my notes that I wanted to talk about. Um, yeah, that took a lot longer than I thought. I thought I would be talking for like 20 minutes, but I talked for about. There's no way TL scouting actually watched 20. Yes, they did not. There's no way they did. I think every single person alive said that as well. They're like, there's no way Team Liquid actually scouted this. Like, I don't know who their scouting report was, or maybe, yeah, I don't know. I think what probably happened is they talked to a bunch of junglers. Pioshik, one of them, and Pioshik um, spoke very well and said how he changed from the actual regular season to making it to Worlds, and how they played at Worlds, and how he changed his mentality, and he just like hit a bunch of buzzwords that resonated with whoever was like doing the signings and whoever was on that Team Liquid roster at that time. I think the players had a choice as well. They were like, "Oh yeah, we'd much rather play with a world champion than play with this other, Umti, for example," because I think Umti had said that Pioshik took a spot. They talked to both, and they ended up going with Pioshik, and then they got rid of him within a year. I mean, he did play well in some games, but he was definitely overrated. Um, yeah, I mean, I said this the in the Team Liquid stream, but chances like my guess is that at least two of the players on Team Liquid will not be on there next split next year, not next split. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully they stick with a core that's winning, but core JJ. Um, yeah, and hopefully like why are this is another thing I was gonna mention, I kinda forgot. I didn't put it in my notes, so I forgot about it. But LCS teams don't collab with each other. Very rarely do they collab with each other, let's put it that way. I think, Team Liquid did something where they brought, some other streamer or some other player from a different team. They brought in Spica, that's who it was. It was a streamer, it wasn't a player. It was an ex-player, I guess. There's, like, no inter-collaboration except for, like, boot camps with Korean teams or Chinese teams or European teams. I don't know why. Why are you, especially when you're not, I guess the players might be busy, but I just find it you could easily have like Yankos watching a video flaming, Team Liquid, and then having Bumty watching a video of Team Heretics and just flaming them, and then just have like a little roast off between the two junglers or something where it'll take like less than an hour of the time of the player, right? So you obviously one thing is like, oh, we don't want to waste their practice time, right? Their practice time is very valuable. You don't need to have them doing on making the rounds. I asked about Team Liquid roster changes, and Kelsey Moser basically said the same, but she thought things might stay together longer because of Core. I think Core lobbied for Yon. I don't know that Core lobbied for Yon. Maybe, yeah. I don't know that because I think they were trying to get Berserker, weren't they? Maybe he did. Maybe he was like, no, I don't want Berserker. I'd rather play with Yon. Because they were trying to get Jojo Pune, and Jojo Pune said he wanted to play with Berserker, and then so they were trying to get Berserker, and that's why Berserker took such a long time to resign in Cloud9, if you remember on the off season. And basically, it seemed like wherever Jojo Pune went, Berserker was going to go. But I would be very happy. Core JJ has done so much for the rookies in North America. He is literally the number one positive effect on rookies, like as a pro player, rookies in North America, and he's not even from this region. Like he came to the region, he was like, I'm going to elevate the tier 3. Is he a day for Yon? General approach of keeping a development core? Yeah, the core JJ has always been like that, which is why I think in the Team Liquid stream, I talked about like Core JJ. I give him a pass for not making any content, for not streaming. He's just so busy, like taking care. He's literally going to boot camp, like combines and stuff, and like boot camps for the challenger teams, picking who's going to be on the academy roster of Team Liquid. Like he is so involved, like open houses, setting them up before we had Champs Q, all that stuff. He's all about improving North America as a region. So when he's not making content, yeah, I forgive him. He's been great for the LCS. I agree, Robin. Plus, no chance of hyping up his teammates with Ayla in 2022. Yeah, for sure. The when he was like Ayla's the second best support in 2022. And then I think yeah, this year he was like, if you want to trash talk, he should be better than be at least as good as APA. Honestly, Core JJ was someone I was really excited to interview, and he's like the worst interview I've ever done. They had just won a game. I think it was against Immortals, and he looked so depressed. He didn't want to talk. His answers were like yes, no. I was just really saddened, and it was very uncomfortable for me. I was still new at interviewing. It was like one of my worst experiences. It wasn't that horrible, but I was kind of sad that I didn't get a better interview with him because I was really excited. I was like, oh my god, it's Core JJ, like the guy who won Worlds and came to North America, made it to semifinal. Like, he's an amazing guy. But then it was an unfortunate interview. So maybe if I get a chance to interview him again, hopefully it goes better. It's after he wins or something. It was after a win. That's the thing. I was like, oh, man, it was a very iffy win. So I can see why he would be upset. But yeah. Um, I think Core JJ would be really cool to use for making cross like regional content. It would be really cool to see Core like do a video with Damon Kia, for example, and because he played with Pioshik before, or with JDG because he played with Ruler before. It'd be really really cool. Like you would get such a massive Chinese influx of eyeballs because they're like, oh, Core JJ, we know that guy. He's the ex ruler's ex, right? Support, and it would like bring a lot of eyeballs to Team Liquid. Same thing with Damwon. Damwon's like a big team there, and it would be really cool to have. I mean, Impact as well. Like Impact with Faker, dude. T1 doing like a collaboration with Team Liquid would be really really cool. And they could sort of like reunite after 11 years apart or 10 years because he left in 2014, right? Be like Impact talking to Faker after he hasn't seen him in 10 years, and like if they both make it to MSI, that would be a really cool video to see. Actually, King is someone who used to do this. She would like get Yankos and like someone from North America, and they would talk with each other. Like I think Travis Gafford had an interview where he brought Reckless and brought Double Lift and had them both talking to each other, so that like people who are Reckless fans can now talk to Team Liquid and whatnot. Even Impact talking to Zeus. Oh snap! Yeah, like how is it playing with my previous mid laner? That would be really cool. I think there's a lot of really cool ideas. Um, Gen G's CEO Arnold had mentioned how like they wanted, even if they were to like practice less and had like one specific day where everyone had to come in to the office to like the Riot Studio or whatever it is in Seoul and do like yeah, just content, media content, team media content. That's the word I was looking for. And he was like, "We need to get to more fans. We need more people watching us, and we're not going to do that by playing more games. We're going to do that by giving them more stuff to watch besides the games, to complement the games." And I think it would be really cool if North America had like Mondays, their day off. Like I guess it would be kinda hard on players, but you just have a day off where you have all the players, they're doing pros, like pros is one thing that goes on the YouTube channel of the LCS team. You have other stuff that they're doing that goes on, the Team Liquid YouTube channel, on Twitter, on TikTok, on, Shopify. Maybe every week, you can have 2 teams that are utilizing the space, and those 2 teams get to make content that goes on their YouTube channel. So it'd be Are You Smarter Than, but with, Spica, Doublelift, if they could bring them in. I don't know if he lives in LA or not, and a bunch of like the C9 members, like Jojo Pune and Berserker. Jojo Pune's not a jungler. Blabber and Berserker, and just like who's smarter? These streamers, jungler plus um, AD carry, or the ones that are actually playing on Cloud9. That would be really cool stuff to do. You could get it. Obviously, this is like same line pollination, right? These are people who play League of Legends pollinating with other people who play League of Legends. Um, but it'd be cool to see people who don't play League of Legends as well do stuff like that. I think Doublelift's TikTok is actually not all that bad. Uh, TikTok, if I recall, I saw a TikTok from him yesterday. Uh, Yeah, one double lift. He's like almost 47K followers, and he has a bunch of like 1 million plus TikToks. So at least he's like posting consistently, if I'm not mistaken. This one was 2 days ago. I think that's the one that I saw. Yeah, the 1v1. Yeah. This one was like 5 days ago, 6 days ago. Yeah, he's relatively consistent posting, so I think that's pretty cool. It would be cool. He was playing other games. It would be really cool to see Doublelift actually, like if he's playing Apex with a pro Apex player, or if he's playing like Minecraft with someone who's like really good at Minecraft or Fortnite. Oh, dude, Jojo Pune used to be an ex Fortnite player. The opportunities there with like the 13-year-olds, like the Zoomers, and having Jojo Pune just like play with them or talk about them or like talk about his previous tournaments that he played. Oh my god, that come on, Cloud9. I know you guys can do it. You guys are pretty good at like um doing new stuff, I think. This year at least. So hopefully they do something like that. I could go on. I should like just make a whole list of ideas and just like publish it and be like, guys, you can do this. Um, it won't cost you much, I swear. Especially in the off season. Cloud9's not going to MSI. What are you guys doing? I know you want to give your like players breaks. 13-year-old Zoomers is a funny when I'm Gen Z and a crusty 21. Hey, you're not crusty. Come on. Oh, 21 is still young. I don't know. Do you play Fortnite? Do 21-year-olds play Fortnite? I have no idea. I'm sure there are people who play Fortnite. But yeah, I think you have Berserker, who's a Korean. I think it'd be really cool if he did stuff with his like ex T1 Academy players and get like viewership from that. It would be really cool to see Jojo Pune with like the other games. It'd be really cool to. I'm older than all of the new rookie prodigies now. All my delusions are shattered. I know the feeling. Um, I know the feeling. Trust me. I hit 27 last month, and um, who was it? It was my sister-in-law. She was like, "Oh, so you're old now?" And I was like, "Oh, come on." She's exactly 10 years younger than me, so I was like, "Come on, I'm not old. I'm still young." Um, when I was a kid, I used to think like 18 was like 40. Like, oh my god, 18-year-old is like a grandpa. Like maybe 30 is like a grandpa, and 18 is like an old man. Um, like a dad. But Now I'm like 27 and I feel probably 19. I'd say I feel 19. When I was 19, I felt 13, but now I definitely feel 19. Age is a weird thing. It flies so quickly. Who else is on Vulcan? I would love to see Vulcan do more French stuff, right? And like appeal to more audience in like Canada. I forgot the name of the country. It'd be really cool for him to like do little like breakdowns or talk to the fans like, "Hey, people, I don't know where he's from." He's like, "Hey, Vancouver." Like he's probably not from Vancouver, but I don't know where he's from. Hey, Vancouver, like we're playing today. Come cheer on. This is really big. Or just like have little events there. There's a lot of players from Canada, so I think that would be really cool. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who they're is it Madeline? Is it Madeline, the C9, like, marketing manager? Is a good substitute to geolocation? Yeah, I think so. I think geolocation can work for sure. Just because they didn't make it work, I don't think is a detriment to geolocation in general. Like, advertising players as being from where they're from. Yeah, yeah, I really wanna do this for Blabber because he's from Maryland, and I'm from Maryland, and, like, I'm a fan of Blabber because he's from Maryland. Right? I don't like C9, but I'm a fan of Blabber, and I kinda like C9 because of him. Um, so yeah, I would really like, when Blabber was playing for the, against Team Liquid, it would be really cool to just have him do, like, a 30-second short, or TikTok, and put a little bit of money behind it, and send it to people who are, like who frequent the League of Legends, TikTok, League TikTok, and are in the general rotation of like from New York all the way to like Delaware to Maryland, and just get all these people and be like, "Hey, Maryland, I'm playing, my semifinals. Come watch me. Losers finals. Come watch me play. Cheer for me. I want to make Maryland proud." That'd been really really cool, but we don't do that, and it doesn't have to be your whole personality. I think Immortals tried to say, "Hey, we're the Great Lakes," and they tried to make that the personality, and they didn't. Like they didn't do anything actively. They had like one watch party there or something, but I think they could have done so much. And just because, like I said, just because it's not working for people doesn't mean it's because it's a bad idea. It's just you don't know how to do it. And I don't think LCS should do it because I think they're really, really bad at marketing and at like the whole content creation game. Like Jack said it best, we are competitors. We're not content creators. And so we don't like we need to learn how to do that. I think once you learn how to be a good content creator, then you can go and say, "Hey, I can make this work." What do you think of the idea of splitting LCS East West? Maybe some logistical problems would be a cool way to generate rivalries. I think so too. I think that would be a really cool idea. But like I was saying, I think I don't have enough faith in the LCS marketing team to make it happen. I was interested in the IMT Midwest thing, but the issue was that it was I agree with you, Silly Shadow. The issue was that it was IMT. Me too. I mean, I was actually born in Michigan, right? I pretty much lived most of my life in Maryland, but I was born in Michigan, and I almost went to University of Michigan for school. I almost worked in Michigan before COVID happened. I was actually going to move to Michigan, so I do have some relate. Like for the longest time, my dad was in Michigan. He moved, but I would visit Michigan quite often. So I do when they were like, "Oh, we're gonna be Great Lakes," I was like, "Oh, I can stand behind this," and did absolutely nothing, and I forgot that they were even from the Great Lakes, and then when I remembered, I was like, "Oh, well, you squandered that idea." But yeah, for East versus West, I have no faith in the LCS content team to make it so that people from the Western Hemisphere, not hemisphere, west of the United States actually care enough that this team is from the West and that I'm a fan because I live in the West. I have zero confidence. Do I think it can work? Absolutely. I think, if they were to hire, I want it because as an East Coaster, we're just going to win because of ping advantage. That's true. Well, maybe they would put a server in the West then, like have a LA server and a Chicago server. Um, but yeah, that would be funny. Dude, when they moved the servers to Chicago, it was so nice. I started having so much better ping. Um, but like hire a media company. Hire like um let's see what's top of the line like I guess the LCS isn't small. Maybe for organization you could talk to the Sasha group, right? They do some stuff. Playing 5 is a chef kiss. I agree, Silly Shadow. On 8 ping. Oh, I can't see. I'm blind. Yeah, it actually makes such a big difference. I didn't realize how big of a difference. I used to play there's a point where I play on different servers. I play on the US server, and I play on, like, 100 ping, like, 120 ping, 140 ping, and I got used to it, and then I played on, like, 60 ping, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can, like, control my character so much better," and then I played on 12 ping, and it's like, oh, like you said, chef's kiss. But yeah, hire like Sasha Group if you're a team. I don't think you have the money to do it, so I'm not like it's not that easy. But if you're the LCS, like hire Vanner Media, have them work with you guys for like 12 to 18 months, and you absolutely could make East versus West work. I think I'll say this, Robin. If the LCS were to hire a well proven, well track with a good track record, a media group to take over their like advertisement and stuff like that, absolutely, I would love for that to happen. Knowing the LCS, they're not going to do that. So I would not want to see the East and West just because it's not going to work. And then they're going to say, oh, East versus West doesn't work. Not we failed the execution. It's so frustrating with the whole best of three things. Like, oh, LCS best of threes is going to kill our viewership because we did it once and it doesn't work. But that's not the problem. You did it once and it didn't work. Doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It just means you didn't know how to do it. Let's see what you can do differently. Just like the LCS right now, it's not doing well in viewership. Is that because the LCS is a product? Like the LCS idea is bad? No, the LCS idea is great. It's just you're not doing a good enough job because either you don't know how to, or your hiring process, or whatever it is. There's some reason that you're not doing it properly, and figure that out instead of, oh, LCS can't exist because I did it and didn't work for me. Therefore, it's definitely not a good thing. I don't agree with that idea at all. I think the thing that needs to happen is for one media savvy, esports loving, dedicated, rich person to come around to save us. Redo all the investments earlier, but better this time. That's all very wishful thinking. It would be amazing, like if we had Mr. Beast just come up and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy a team, and this is how you do it, and every team's just gonna copy me because I know exactly how to do it, and you guys are all dumb." That would be amazing. Do you think Riot feels disinclined to promote LCS because LCS itself is supposed to be promotion for the game? No, because my understanding, Silly Shadow, is that the LCS is more than a promotion for the game. It's actually a promotion for skins. So when Faker, for example, makes his play, and then on Azir and he's using a skin, everyone wants to buy that skin. When Bjergsen back in the day used to play a Lux skin, everybody wanted that Lux skin or Zoe skin. So my understanding is that you give people it is a promotion for the game as well. Like people who don't play for a long time, like for myself, there were seasons where I just straight up didn't play, and then I watch LCS and be like, okay, I actually want to play. So there is part of that. I don't think they're disinclined. I think Riot has an ego, and if the LCS fails, it would be a huge hit to their ego. And I think that that's if I learned one thing about Riot is that they don't like being wrong. So everything they do is right. So because they made the LCS is right. Faker using skins is maybe not the best example, but point taken. Yeah, Faker using skins is definitely not the best example. But I think when a new skin comes out, not many people are like looking at the skin lines and whatnot. But if a pro player has access to it and he's like, oh my god, like when the Project skin lines came out, I remember everyone was playing Project Lucian, everyone was playing Project Jin, and it became the most popular skin line in part because all the pros were playing it. And when you see Double Lift's Lucian play from 2016, you know that it's the project skin and it looks really cool, and it just it's a marketing arm for them. I don't think they're disinclined to promote it because it probably makes them a lot of money. Um, Simply having esports scene, yeah, the legitimacy of the game as a product. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. It also is about like legitimacy, if it makes sense. It gives a certain feeling of prestige. Yeah, and like anytime Riot, you know, back in 2015, they filled out Madison Square Garden, right? When you can do that, and then you talk about like you go to an investor, you go to a Pagoda, for example, you go to Mastercard, you go to Honda or Kia, and say, hey, this is the scale that we're at, right? We want to partner with you guys. All of a sudden, you open huge doors for yourself. So there is that prestige as well. Like if I were to go to a company and be like, hey, I made like these videos. and I'm gonna hold an event, and I've never like I made a video game, but I've never had an event, and I'm planning on making an event that has like capacity of 20,000 people. They'll be like, well, you haven't done that before. We don't know, go play somewhere else, you know. But the fact that Riot worked their way all the way up and has like the LCS as a pro team, anytime they want to do an event or want to do something with League, even if it's not like professional League related, if it's like they have their spring festival and they want to hold an event, they can easily find sponsors, they can book venues, they can um, make money off of it. So prestige is a huge thing. You're right. I didn't think of that, Robin. Um, I'm salty that I missed the era of League 10 years after MSG. I only got the Hulu Theater at Worlds. Aw. Oh, I was there. I should have. Maybe we ran by each other or something. Yeah, I think I didn't. I never was like a fan of going to events, even when I was in 2015. I did think about going to MSG, but I do think that 10 years ago was much nicer for a lot of events. I think it will come back though. Um, Even if I have to make it myself, like I know this is really egotistical, but I think that I will keep putting as much effort as I can in order to bring the scene back up. And one of my goals is to do the things that I'm talking about, not just talk about them, but actually do them. And when I do them, then I can go to Riot. I can go to these teams and be like, look, man, this is proven to work. I am a one man team. I have a full time job. I work like 60 hours a week and I can do this. You have an employee whose full-time job is to do this. Why are they failing? And I'll tell you exactly why they fail. Like I'll make a whole deck for you. This is what you need to do, right? And here it is for free. Please do it. If you want me to work with you, I'll work with you. Just like do it because I want LCS to thrive. I'm not in here for it to make a bajillion dollars. Like I have a full-time job I'm happy with. Um, they provide me with amazing, benefits and whatnot. So I'm not here to leech off you. I want what's best for the ecosystem because I love League of Legends. I love the game. I love the players. I love LCS, and I want to see it grow. And that's not going to happen in one or 2 years. Like I don't think I'm going to be in a position where I can go to teams and be like, "This is what you guys are doing wrong," and like they're going to take me seriously. But I think within 3, 4, maybe 5 years, I can be at a position where I can say, "Hey, these are the strategies I took as a single individual. This is how it works. This is proven. I can show you myself. I can show you 100 different examples, right? I can show you big organizations, big companies like Duolingo and what they're doing, what Pepsi is doing, what Chipotle is doing. All these people, this is what they're doing. You are an organization that does not do this stuff. You are, you know, um, your viewership has gone down for some reason. Like you only have 100,000 people watching you or throughout the split. There's no reason it should be this way because of ABC. And here it is. Like, please, I can't do any more than spoon feed you, right? At some point, you're gonna have to chew it yourself. So that is one of my goals. Whether I'll get to that or not, who knows? I will try my best, and I do have confidence in myself because I don't have confidence in LCS teams or in Riot. My problem with them is that it's not that they're not trying. I just feel like they care so much about the past. That sounds sick. I wish you luck with that. Thank you, Silly Shadow. I appreciate the kind words. My problem is that they're so obsessed with the past. Like they're always late to trends. When TikTok was booming, no one was on there, right? They waited until 4 years later, where you had to put so much more effort in. When Facebook ads were a thing, they didn't do it. It was a small period of like 16 months, like maybe less, maybe like 12 months, where Facebook Reels were the thing. Right now, what's probably the biggest like TikTok Live right now? I don't see any team, any organization utilizing TikTok Live. If I had 1,000, what is it called? 1,000 followers on TikTok, I would be doing TikTok Live every single day. It is the number one biggest platform for like growing platform for live content. It is amazing. I wish I had 1,000. Maybe I should go hard on TikTok. Actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, um, TikTok Live is so good because the algorithm that it uses is awesome. Riot's ego is a double-edged sword. They're unlikely to just give up, but they won't admit that others are probably better qualified to grow the product. Yeah, I agree. That's why a lot of the content that I talk about is like the teams. What are the teams doing? Because honestly, I have no faith in Riot to do something. Like I just don't. I really don't. Like historically speaking, Riot is kind of like Apple, but they're just not as good. They decide that this is good and that everyone else doesn't know and that they're right. And then 6 years later, they will do what everyone wanted from the very beginning and be like, we are innovating, right? Um, I don't necessarily appreciate that approach. I can see that it works for some people. Maybe Riot has, people that look up to Apple and think that that's how it should be, right? A lot of people looked up to Steve Jobs, and a lot of people choose to be mean because Steve Jobs was mean, or whatever it is. Like, to each their own, right? Not here to judge them as people, or I can only say that the results based on their practices doesn't speak well. Um, but yeah, I would really love to better qualify. Yeah, just rereading that. It is what it is. I lost my train of thought completely. Oh yeah, TikTok Live. I would love to do TikTok Lives every single day, even if it's just like talking, because the way TikTok Live works, it's very different than Instagram, for example. When you go on live on Instagram, YouTube does this a little bit, but it's not as well integrated as TikTok. The longer you stay, so let's talk about Instagram. If you go live on Instagram, it will ping everyone that follows you, right? So let's say you have 1,000 followers on Instagram, it'll ping everyone that's on Instagram. On Twitter, it'll kind of like show a little bubble feed, right? And people will like join because they're like, "Oh, what's he talking about?" And then they'll kind of like leave. And then there's that's it, right? So the maximum you can get is however much you get in the beginning. Normally, you're not going to go much higher. What YouTube does, what TikTok does, is that in TikTok you're just scrolling, and as you're scrolling, it's going to start showing that live, your live, to random people, and then people are going to join. And the longer you're on there, the more people are going to see your live. So it's not like it's just a mass message to 100 people and whoever joins. It's not like that. It's like some it'll keep showing you more and more and more, and you'll notice within like 2 hours you will probably have like 10 times more than what you had in the beginning. And the longer you go, the more people come join your live because it's constantly showing it to people, and the more people join you, the more it's like, oh, people are enjoying his stuff, and so it's sending it to more people. YouTube does that a little bit, but not as well integrated as TikTok, because in TikTok you're kind of just scrolling and they decide what to show you. With YouTube, you open up a new YouTube tab, and there's like 1,000 different things that are fighting for your attention. And then maybe you click on a video, they're never going to show that to you again. Someone who's already on a video is not going to all of a sudden randomly accidentally click on a live. They're just going to keep watching videos. So it's a bit different with YouTube and Twitter and whatnot. So TikTok Live, I mean, objectively speaking, is the biggest growing platform. I would love to see teams utilize that stuff. I haven't seen a single live from any LCS organization, any LCK, like anyone on TikTok. I haven't. I've seen league streamers do that. We will show you League of Legends. You have no choice. Yes, exactly, Robin. That's exactly what happens, and it's awesome. I mean, I'm probably gonna go make a bunch of shorts after I'm done streaming, and try to grow my TikTok following because I want to utilize the lives. I don't know why I didn't realize I could use lives too. I think I use TikTok for like research purposes, and I didn't really think of TikTok as like a place that I would want to grow because I want to grow on YouTube, and I just think monetization and reach and just yeah, there's just the tools that YouTube gives you is a lot nicer, and so I'm like a YouTube kind of guy, but I definitely should invest in TikTok because I don't want to do what I'm telling the teams not to do, which is like jump on the ship after it already finished reaching its heights and it's sinking. So right now, TikTok lives are amazing, and I should try to get to that 1,000 mark so that I could do the lives. I'll also tell David about it because I don't see him doing lives. I see him on YouTube, I see him on Twitch, but I don't see him on TikTok. So I think that that's a place that he really should be utilizing. Um, but yeah, is David the NYS? Yes, David. Let me put his YouTube at David. Oh, I probably can't. I'll just put a link for his YouTube channel real quick. Uh, I think it's D subscriptions. I don't subscribe to you, buddy. There we go. Yeah, it's at David. Okay. Uh, Shaynuk, I think, is how it's pronounced. Let's see. This guy here. He's really cool. You should check him out. He also makes a lot of content for the LCS. He has very similar ideas to myself on how content should work, and how like teams are kind of dropping the ball on stuff. And he invited me in his stream like quite often, mostly on the YouTube side rather than Twitch. Sometimes if I'm already on Twitch, I'll hop onto his Twitch there. But oh yeah, I'm a subscriber to him or on Hotline League. Oh, I think he was on Hotline League yesterday. He's really good at his Twitter and TikTok game. He's really good, and I try to learn from him. I have heard there's a counterintuitive strategy with YouTube Shorts where the algorithm favors shorts that are marked as don't show to subscribers or something like that. Have you heard of this? Yes, Silly Shadow. I've heard of this. I've heard multiple people tell me about it. I have experimented with it once or twice. But this was I heard of it the beginning of March, and I traveled and left for like the whole of March. I didn't even have like a computer to work on, and you can only do it through desktop. You can't do it through the app, which is what I use. I would love to experiment on it. I think the reason it's doing that is because it seems like my understanding, like my hypothesis that has not been like tested. I still need to test it. Is that your subscribers, if you're a channel that posts to your subscribers, like, to videos and shorts, and it's like kinda a mix of that, you don't want the people that subscribed because of your videos to start seeing your shorts because a lot of times they're not like they're the same thing, they're repetitive, or they're, like, completely different, and so, don't showing it to your subscribers forces the algorithm to be like, hey, we know the pool of people that like your stuff. You're a League of Legends streamer, for example, right? Or you make stuff about the LCS, and you're the people that subscribe to you are the ones we're going to show it. You don't want them to see it, so we're going to have to find other people that don't watch your channel that also like the LCS, and so you're kind of broadening your pool of people that watch your shorts. And then the other thing is like if your short sucks or it's not like that great, your subscribers might watch it and then it'll flop with your subscribers. Whereas if you send it to new people, it might flop with them, but it's still new eyeballs. And they might check out your channel because, you know, they've never seen you before. And all of a sudden, YouTube will think that, hey, a lot of people are checking out his channel. That's because this short is actually better than we think it is. And they'll start sending it to more people. So that's my hypothesis of why it works that way. Um, I don't know that that's true. I made that up. Literally telegraphing the idea of shorts as an advertising spearhead. LCS and pay. Yeah. Gotcha. Thanks for the insight. Yeah, Robin. I know. Literally telegraphing the idea of shorts as advertising spearhead. I don't like I'm gonna go on their shorts real quick, but I don't think they've linked a single video. Even their shorts is like, oh, that's the wrong app. Oops. Uh LCS. Uh when I click on shorts, even Kobe had a secret. Oh, they do. Okay, finals. They have to the dive. This one has nothing. This one to the playoffs. Okay. I mean, this is much better than it was, like 2 months ago, honestly. It's really improved. The playoffs has been pretty good. Like the playoff content that they have, it's been pretty good. Um, I don't think they did nearly as enough. They also don't target stuff. They just kinda make stuff and let it live. The other thing I was talking about with, like, Blabber, for example, is that you can target Maryland audience. I don't know how much I think they're still learning, so I can kinda excuse that. But once you get a little bit of a handle, like, let's say you have a TikTok or a short that does really well, all of a sudden, you have an ad. Right? You can take that TikTok, you can take that short, you can alter it a little bit. You can say, like, let's say, let's just give an example of Cloud9 because we talked about Blabber. You have Blabber, and you have a TikTok where Blabber's, talking with Meteos, and he says, "Yeah, we're gonna play finals. I'm really losers finals. I know we played poorly against FlyQuest, but we're gonna do really well." And you put that on TikTok, and it gets 100,000 views. It gets 200,000, whatever. It does really, really well compared to your other things. All of a sudden, you can take this clip, edit it a little bit, be like, "Hey, so come watch us play, cheer for us. I'm from Maryland and I want to do Maryland proud." You kind of like add that to the end. You already know this does well, right? It has already proven that this does well. You don't need meetings of like, what commercial are we going to do? You don't need all of that like overhead that normally regular advertisers need, you can take that, use that as your creative for that ad, add a little bit of stuff, change it a little bit so that it looks like and feels like an ad. It has a call to action, put some money behind it and send it out. And you already know people are going to watch it. The problem with ads is if you make a horrible ad that everybody just like kind of skips or doesn't care about, then you're wasting your money. But if you already know the ad is good, all of a sudden you can post that and people will watch it because you already know people are watching it. So that's another strategy that you can use. That's another reason that social media is so important because it's free. Like, imagine trying to get a newspaper back in the 2000s. There's no newspaper on the face of the planet that'd be like, "Oh yeah, we'll let you put whatever you want whenever you want." Like, no, you have to pay a fee, right? Um, this is like, hey, you can not only are we letting you put it on this newspaper, we will tell you exactly how many people watch it, how they react to it, whether they liked it or not, whether it's a good piece of content or not. You can take this and learn from it. All those insights. We have that. That's completely out of left field, and I have never made league content myself, but all of a sudden I feel the urge to make a supercut of APA running off stage post games with Eurobeat beat. Yeah. Oh snap, Robin. Ah, that's a great idea. You should do it. I don't know who wants this, but I do. And I'm actually going to do it. Nice. That's exactly what you should do. If it's something that you want to do, that's the audience that you should be doing for. That's what I do. I wanted to make content that appeals to people like me, and I just make videos that I would watch and enjoy. And if I wouldn't watch it, I probably wouldn't make it. So you should definitely do it, Robin. I'm backing you with that. It is pretty funny. Like when you say it, he's always like just like running as soon as the game ends, like Nexus explodes, he just like puts his thing down and just first one out. I don't know why, but when I saw that in the finals after game one, and he just did that, I had flashbacks of Cloud9. I was like, no, are we really gonna lose? No, because I didn't want Team Liquid to win. But then they won game two, and I was like, okay, it's just a dark omen. They're not gonna win, and then they won, and I'm sad. I'm still sad about it, but I'm a little over it because it wasn't Shopify, dude. If they beat Shopify in the finals, first of all, I'd be stoked that they make the finals. Have I asked them why he does it? No, but the next time I interview him, I will ask him. I will write that down. Uh, I might actually just tweet at him as well and ask him that way, or DM him. I don't know if he has his DMs open, but be cool to find out. I wonder if he has a TikTok by any chance. TikTok APA. Okay, TL maybe APA. Yeah, he does not have a TikTok. Um, I'm seeing stuff from Jesus Gal. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, there's people actually making the sports TV. I don't know what language this is, but there's Team Liquid versus Cloud9 content on there. I remember Umti being asked why he's always first backstage, and I was surprised it wasn't paired with the APA question. Oh, what did Umti say? I don't know why he's always first backstage. What did he say, Robin? All right, so I gotta ask APA about that, and then I gotta ask David about dual streaming, and then I want to ask him to do TikTok lives. I don't remember the exact answer. I think it's a particular reason. Oh, okay. Maybe it's like a Team Liquid thing, or maybe maybe he needs to pee. Maybe he's like so. Nadeshot used to be like very nervous when he plays games, and like that would cause his um, wire to like make him feel like he wants to pee, even if it's like just a little bit. He would always really need to pee, so he would like after before playing the game and after he would have to pee. So maybe it's a case of that where he's just like, okay, I gotta go pee. Or maybe not. Maybe it's like a sign of dominance. Like let's get this over with. I don't know. It'd be cool to find out. How many followers do I have on TikTok? I have 165. All right, I can make that work. That's more than I thought. I just have to consistently upload stuff for TikTok. The other thing I do with TikTok is I use it to download stuff. So I will it did have the happy it did have the happy consequence of resulting in some banger photos of him wailing ahead of fly. Oh, all right. I haven't looked at the Flickr, the LCS Flickr. Normally after games, I'll check the Flickr to see stuff. Just because the pictures can be really really cool. LCS spring split, NACL's finals day 2. That's a lot of pictures of the trophy. Oh snap, the Rise thing. I wonder if anyone was live. I heard that Rise, that's a really good picture of Inspired actually. I heard that the Rise performance was very, very good live, but the online one like didn't seem that great. AP path to LCS, Masu, APA. That's cool. Oh, they're all full of smiles. Wait until they lose. FlyQuest. Oh, that's a really good picture. APA said he runs off stage to stay locked in and go talk to his coaching staff. Oh, all right, CG. I didn't know about that. Apparently, that's what he does it to stay locked in. All right, dude. These pictures are awesome that were taken for the on the LCS Flickr account. They're so good. Wait, let me put this in the chat. Wasn't an interview. Don't remember which one. I'm sure I can find it. I haven't watched a bunch of interviews while I was traveling, unfortunately. But normally, I watch every single interview that comes out from anyone and see if there's anything I can learn, anything I can bring up. Um, and the next interview, or maybe a question that like the answer is kind of dull. Oh snap! He is screaming his lungs out. That is cool. Oh, this is when they won. Oh, Umti's crying. Dude, Impact looks so happy. He's so nonchalant about it. It's like, "Oh, yeah, I just did my stuff, I won." It's like, to be expected, I'm the best player, and then, like, when you look at the pictures, he's just, like, smiling ear to ear, he's so happy. It's like, "Well, that's a nice Jap picture." Aw, Core JJ smiling. I haven't seen Spawn pictures. Where's Spawn? Oh, there's a lot of pictures. I wonder if there's, like the LCS could do something, with their Flickr account and just show it to, I don't know, professional photographers. I'm sure there's like a bunch of YouTubers that are into professional photography and stuff like that, and that would be a really cool collab because they do their Flickr account like every single game day, right? They are always uploading pictures. They're paying people to do this. I think it would be a really cool thing to like have professionals, you know, um, look at it. I'm not sure entirely how you would do that, just because I'm not sure who does it. I'm not sure like the people that are on YouTube. Oh, the Umti signature is cool. Um, the people that actually, yeah, I'm not sure of YouTubers that do that kind of stuff, but I would definitely like try and find a collab. Man, I have so many ideas. I really should have wrote. I can probably go back onto the stream and sort of double speed watch it and try to find all the ideas that I came up with. I have some in my notes, obviously, but um, there's a lot of different collaborations that aren't shallow. But honestly, do the shallow ones. Do the shallow ones and do the non-shallow ones. The ones that are will get you a lot more viewership. I think food is a really good place to start because everybody eats food. I think it'd be really cool if you go to like a famous restaurant and be like, hey, we want to do like a small little event here for league players. All of a sudden, you have the people that are eating there, meeting League of Legends players or seeing like the games on the TV, something like that. A lot of different ways. I think watch parties are really cool because if you have like a watch party and there's just people in the restaurant anyways or in the bar and they're like, oh, what is that? That's not football. That's not tennis, which is like what would normally be on there. That's not soccer. That's a really cool place to do that. When I say food, I don't mean like small restaurants, although that could work. I think boba places are probably really, really cool to do collabs with. Um, You could even be like, "Hey, it's game day. Like, if you drink boba, like, come to the store. We'll give you like a tiny little discount if you show your rank or whatever." And yeah, just come grab a boba. And then the people that are actually they'll have a TV playing the league games and maybe some people hanging out watching the games. It'll People will be like, "Oh, that's League of Legends." Maybe they have a little sign that's like, "Hey, show us your League of Legends account," or show that you're subscribed to the LCS Discord or something, and we'll give you something. And then people might join and watch just because they wanted a tiny little discount. There's a bunch of stuff that the LCS could be doing. Especially another problem with not being geolocated. I think Robin was the one that brought it up. Let me just make sure it was Robin. LCS should be marketing to Korea Boost, marketing hard to Korea Boost. I think they should be marketing to everyone. But yes, to Korea Boost, especially considering how many Koreans we have. And we do a bunch of K-pop stuff too. We had like Gods, we had KDA. Um, was it Robin who talked about East versus West? I'm pretty sure it was you, right? Yeah, it was you. Um, the other thing of like the problems with not geolocating is that you can't target specific audiences. If every single LCS team is in LA and they're all within a 30-minute like radius of each other, then doing collaborations or local things to bring people to watch LCS, to bring people to like care about this team becomes like crowded, right? Because everybody's going to pick the same boba place or the same popular thing, or they're just going to copy each other, and it's end up going to be not as beneficial, right? If you're spread out, it's obviously more beneficial. I would like here in Maryland, we have a bunch of cafes, right? It would be really cool to see like a Buffalo Wild Wings or a cafe or a restaurant or whatever it is, like a Korean barbecue place. There's some really cool Korean barbecue places that have TVs everywhere and stuff like that. It would be so cool if it's during LCS time. You come to Maryland, you're like, hey, we have a Cloud9 game. This is Blabber. You have a co-stream like a C9 co-stream that's talking about Maryland, that's like maybe in Maryland. Like obviously you can't do this because they're not actually in Maryland. But I think a Cutie Pie was is based in Maryland, right? That would be cool if you could get him and just talk about that stuff and be like, yeah, he's making us proud. We're all Blabber fans. So just be biased. That's not like just be biased towards Blabber because he's from here. If it's like I don't know where Dokla's from, but let's say he's from Oklahoma or something. Like just do stuff in Oklahoma that brings people who are from Oklahoma to who might just know a little bit about League of Legends, maybe different games, but all of a sudden they're going to be fans of this player just automatically because guess what? I'm from Maryland. I have no choice but to be a Blabber fan. It's like embedded in my genes. Because I'm a Tottenham Hotspurs fan. Tottenham, poor guy. And every fan forum has Korean presence because of Hyungmin Sun. Yeah, that is true. Uh, if one player can cause a country to love one random London football club, League can do it too, for sure. Absolutely. We have so many Chinese players that I guess not many of them are like there was Spica, right? There's Blabber. He's originally like he has a bunch of family in China. I don't know how like connected he is, but considering they don't advertise Blabber to Maryland. I doubt they've advertised Blabber to China. The other thing is like, in terms of money and sponsorships, they want to show people that hey, when Cloud9 plays in the LCS, we have concurrent viewers of 200 to 300,000 on like 250,000 average viewers, concurrent viewers. And this is where they're geolocated. They're located in Maryland and LA, for example. That's because we have Blabber, and he's like the Maryland guy. Obviously, not all of them. Let's just say like 50,000 of them are in Maryland. This is just making up numbers, by the way. And it would be cool to have a Maryland sponsorship, maybe with a Costco in Maryland, and be like, hey, if you're in Maryland, Costco has this awesome sale because we have a bunch of Costco's here, and we're doing this. Or you could even have like I don't know, like a local restaurant here that's in Maryland, and be like, hey, we're doing this sale, or not restaurant, like a store or something, a jewelry store, and like dress up Blabber in like Maryland swag, like a clothes shop, Maryland swag, and be like, hey, if you're in Maryland, there's a lot of stuff that you could do that. The cross country stuff would be really good as well. Just maybe that would be more for like YouTube and international stuff. I don't know that it would get the team a sponsor. It might get their channel a sponsor. I'm not entirely sure how that stuff works. I'm pretty sure it's very geolocated, which is another reason why geolocation should have been so important. Is because if you're getting sponsors, and half of the people that are watching your league are living in Europe and Brazil because of your co-streamers, then you're going to North American sponsors and be like, "Hey, we want the North American budget." They're gonna be like, "Well, your people aren't North American, so we're not gonna pay you that much because we care about North Americans because we sell in North America." Um, I do think geolocation, even if it's arbitrary, it's like based on your player, right? It is pretty important. And it's not like there aren't Koreans that live in the US. Like in Maryland, we have a huge Korean population and Chinese population. So I think that that might be an option too. Like if you have a berserker, um, if you had based yourself in Maryland because your star player is Blabber and he's from Maryland, you could have also advertised Berserker for the Koreans that live in Maryland. And we have a lot of Korean barbecue places. We have a lot of Chinese hot pot places that you could possibly do collabs with and get people who care about food. It might be Americans. I mean, there's a bunch of Americans like myself going to these places because they have good food. And then you see League of Legends, you start watching it. You become a Cloud9 fan because you hear Cloud9 when you go eat Korean barbecue. And I don't think it really happens these days. I do think that it's really cool having anime collabs, like what 100 Thieves, what Team Liquid had done before, um, and more recently, I think as well, and Cloud9 with One Piece. That's really, really cool. But what I did not see, I'm a huge One Piece fan, right? What I did not see is Cloud9 talking to big One Piece content creators. Like there's so many of them. Library of Ohara would be amazing to there's Joy Boy, there's all these people who do content just specifically about One Piece. And you collabed with One Piece, and not a single person that I've seen, maybe I'm blind, but that I've seen that have talked about Cloud9 and their apparel and how cool it is. That's all you need to do. You don't even need to tell them, "Hey, watch League of Legends." Just like, "Hey, look, One Piece just did a collab with this team. They sent me this really cool Cloud9 shirt. I love it. You should check them out. Here's their YouTube handle. Here's their Twitter. Something, anything." God, I hope they did it. I really hope that I'm just blind and didn't see it. Like maybe that week I wasn't, or those episodes I just didn't happen to read because One Piece was on break or something. But I hope so. Team Liquid has decided to gelocate themselves in a study known as winning. Uh, Team Liquid has been at work since 2015, right? So that's 10 splits. That's 10 years. That's 20 splits. Well, 19 because 2014. 19 splits. They've won five. So 5 out of 19. So a little under 20, a little over 20%. They're not, they're homeless for most of the years. They were homeless for 5 years. Before that, they were homeless for 4 years, right? 15, 16, 17, 18. No, they won 18. So they're homeless for 3 years, had a home for 2 years, homeless for another 5 years, and now they finally have a home, huh? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's I mean, it's great to be the team that's always has aspirations like Cloud9. They're not based on like winning, right? They were always making it to finals. And Team Liquid is more about winning than Cloud9, despite Cloud9 having won way more than Team Liquid. I think Cloud9 has done a pretty good job at saying, "Hey, we are always looking to be competitive, but at the end of the day, we're Cloud9, right? Whether we win or lose, we want you to cheer for us. We're not, hey, we're going to win at all costs." We're not that kind of team. And they brought in perks, they built super teams, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And people don't remember, but that perks team was one game away from losing to TSM and not making it to Worlds. They were, what were they, 0-4? Or were they 1-4? When FPX collapsed and they were able to make it to quarters. Like we look back at it as a success, but it could have very easily not have been a success. Now I'm not trying to take away anything from that, but um, I wouldn't necessarily call it a super team as well because they had Fudge, right? And Fudge was like new; he wasn't a veteran. But yeah, I don't think winning is a good. How do I phrase this? It's not that it's not good marketing, it is. It's just not good to only be known as winning because you're not always going to win. There are 8 teams that are fighting to win every single split, and you're not going to be able to win most of them. Like from 2015 to 2018, you didn't to 2017, you didn't make a single final, right? You played 6 splits, you didn't make a single final. Well, maybe like 6 teams usually. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, Well, you never know because sometimes teams overperform. Like Golden Guardians, everyone wrote them off, right? They barely made it to playoffs, 9-9, and then they made it to finals. You wouldn't say that they were fighting at the beginning of the split. People didn't expect them to do well, but yeah, I think you're right. Probably like I would say this split it was actually pretty close. Now, do I think that Immortals, Shopify, Dignitas could have made it to finals? Probably not. But the fact that Shopify was one play away from making it to finals over NRG to make it to um, to playoffs over NRG. Yeah, man, I'm so sad about GGS. It was the first time I really got into LCS work for more than a year. Yeah, I was sad too. They they had such a huge backing, and then they very rarely used it. It was kind of sad to see less basketball integrations from the team, from players, from like organizations, from just sports in general. I thought they would do a lot more, but it was pretty sad. Um, is SR making finals next split? Absolutely. You're asking a Shopify fan, so absolutely. When they don't, I'm going to be crying, but yeah, we're making it to finals. We have Bvoy. We looked way better than we did back in week one. We're like one of the few teams that steadily improved over the split, and you could tell that we were improving. We have a huge champ pool in the mid lane, which can be used as a weapon. And I think next split we'll have the team for the full like the next split we'll have the roster for the full split, and we'll be pretty good. I had the golden touch where I supported Rogue. They won. I supported GDS. They started popping off. And the next year, GDS is gone and Rogue is doing great. Oh no. Oh no, Robin. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened to you. Well, I kind of understand because I'm a Falcons fan. And yeah, let's just say they made it to the finals. They're like basically the equivalent of got reverse swept. And that sounds like monkey paw, not golden touch. Yes, I don't know. It might be both, right? Because at first they start winning and then they crash and burn and disappear. Oh, you know who else has that? Ole. So Ole, he initially played on he played on Team Liquid, then he left Team Liquid and went to sorry, he initially played on Immortals, right? And then Immortals like straight up left the league, right? They didn't make it to franchising in 2018 because he was on there in 2017. Plays on Team Liquid, leaves Team Liquid, then he joins Golden. Was it? Did he join Golden Guardians? No, no. He played on Immortals. Immortals leaves. He played on Golden Guardians. That's what it was. Before retiring, going to the military, he played on Golden Guardians, and then he leaves, and then he comes back, and Golden Guardian leaves the league. So he was like, "Oh my god! Every time I play on a team, they just disappear." But he ended up rejoining Immortals. And guess what? He joined Immortals and they got rid of their coach and they were like, "Oh, we're trying to be like NRG." Guess what they did? They fired a coach one time. So clearly it's a good thing to do. Like some of the worst. Ole is hello backwards after all. Yeah. It's like bye bye at that point. Yeah, I'm excited for Shopify next split. I think that their content team is amazing. He's a one man team, but it's a team nonetheless. He's really good. Um in terms of like thinking very similarly to how I think, um, and constantly improving on the stuff that they're making and trying to find different ideas and different collabs and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy with their content team. They're either the best or second best team to in terms of team content, which is crazy. They're new. They literally hired their content producer the day before LCS started. And they had like or 2 days maybe, and they had the most content this entire split. Some of their content was hilarious. Everyone talks about the Wild Turtle and Tomio making food one was going shopping was hilarious. I think that trying the Korean snack thing was pretty cool too. Um, so yeah, I think in terms of content, they're going to be doing a great job. And then in terms of the team, they're really exciting to watch. Like whether you like their team or not, I know I'm a bit of a fan, so it's a bit biased, but it's really cool seeing Zach mid solo kill Jensen's Oriana, right? When there's like no other player is playing Zach. It's really cool playing Sion and then winning 2 games in a row. That's really cool to see Sion mid going down 40 CS, being up an item because your items are cheaper, and winning the game. Yeah, more insanity, please. Yeah, I agree. B-Boy looked amazing too. It's not like it's just insanity show and you're like, okay, next split he's just gonna leave. It's like insanity plays a bunch of stuff. He's super fun player to watch. B-Boy looks really good, right? The more he plays with Zazel, the better they're gonna become. Boogie is still Boogie, right? He's like probably top 4. He's not like an umpty level. I wouldn't say he's umpty level, but he's very, very smart about what's happening around the map. Oftentimes you'll see him being like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure there's a ward there." When like they had no reason to know the ward was there except for like very small, minute hints. But he's like very smart about it. Even when he was playing on PCS, that's something that he was known for. Is like he's very smart about what's happening around the map. And then Fake God, I hope that he's able to keep playing better because he definitely improved over the split, but he was not a top performer, and I think that he has it in him. He played much better in academy. You can say that the players there were weaker, but just individually he showed better. So hopefully he has more carry renecting games and we see more from the team. I'm also looking excited for the rest of the LCS to get on new trash talk meta. I agree. Feels like it would really become a thing during playoffs. Insanity feels like he would fit into that. Yeah, I think so. Did you see the trash talk video that I posted where I had just a bunch of pro players trash talk team Shopify? I didn't ask Shopify to trash talk just because every time I had them was like after a loss, and I'm like, I can't really ask you to shop trash talk after losing. It's not how that works. So, um, but hopefully, if they win more, the one where Busio trashed them, yeah. Oh my god, it was dude. Some players gave me such lackluster trash talk that I was like, I don't even want to put it in. But then I was like, I already got the footage. I might as well put it in. There's the Busio one. There was Think Card where he was like, I'm gonna try. Oh, you want me to try talk Shopify? I got you, bro. Shopify, I respect them a lot. They're such a good team. They're great practice partners. They play a bunch of like they're very solid in scrims. Same thing with Jensen. I was like, can you trash talk him? He's like, honestly, I just trash talk bad players, and they're not bad. They're like really good scrim partners. And they did go one on one with FlyQuest, and so I'm sure that they scrimmed a lot. But it was hopefully it'd be better if you do it again with Teal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will definitely have Yawn Trash Talk. What's it called? FlyQuest, especially they're inspired and Whippo. I think it would be cool to get them to keep doing that stuff. But I'm not entirely sure that I'm going to do interviews next split, but I will see. I will probably do interviews from MSI though. If you guys can BM Faker, people can definitely BM like Dig. That's true. That's true. Um, It's just a lot of times it's forced. Like with Yon, it wasn't forced, and I don't really know how we can keep like asking them to trash talk. I think if we keep doing it, it'll eventually become second nature. But the fact that we don't keep doing it and it's like one or two people that are asking for it makes it so that they're not used to this kind of trash talk. It'll be if you watched back in 2015, Gravity finished in first place in the regular season, and TSM finished in sixth place. They just barely made it into playoffs, right? They were struggling, and there was like a trash talk segment between the Gravity players and the TSM players. And there was this one scene where Hanser, I still remember because it was so good. Hanser tells Team Lick to TSM that they had Dyrus at the time. He was like, "After this game, you're gonna retire," and then Dyrus completely stomped Hanser. It was crazy. Hanser ended up replacing Dyrus, and Dyrus did retire after Worlds, but it was funny. Um, it's definitely something where some players naturally are good at it, I think. Yeah, I think so too. It's funny. Turtle had trash talk in that video, and then at the end they showed bloopers. Man, my memory of some things is so like vivid, and it might be I'm making this up, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. He was like, "Man, what am I supposed to trash talk? I don't have anything bad to say about these people." After he trash talked like 3 or 4 different segments. Not gonna lie, I kind of like the Uno reverse trash talk where they overly respect the opponent. Okay, silly shadow. Well, yeah, I'm happy that I actually put it in then. If that happens, like I personally don't enjoy that, but if there are people like you that actually enjoy it, so or find it kind of funny or amusing. So um, the Uno reverse trash talk. I like the name of that. One thing I didn't realize that I should have done. I thought about it, but then I was like, kind of forgot about it, and I didn't realize how big it was going to be. A lot of people commented saying or messaged me saying, "Hey, I don't know who these players are." So like, could you next time put their names on there so I can know who's trash talking who? Um, but yeah, I probably should have done that, especially for like IMT players. Like, can you really tell Castle and Armeo not Castle and Armeo, Castle and Mask or, like, Rich apart? Probably not. So, if you're not an IMT fan, you can't tell them apart. Trash talk meta. I'll see what I can do. I did like did you guys happen to see the trash talk video that happened between myself and David, before 100 Thieves played, um, Shopify? I'd love to do more of that. I'd love to have, like, Broxa be the one. A lot of what I try to do is I do realize that you need the players to be making content, but I also think that if you have a streamer, you should really utilize them. So if I can get like a Broxa or if I can get a Spica to come on and like defend their team or hype up their team, I'd love to do that. I don't think it has to only be players. Um, and I'd love to have like Spica trash talking Team Liquid as FlyQuest as that like face of FlyQuest. Um, and then having like David trash talking, sorry, not Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, and then have David trash talking back FlyQuest as the face of, you know, what's it called, 100 Thieves, and like use other people's personalities as well, and like maybe you get people again. Collaboration, I think, is goes a long way. Yeah, the other thing I'm excited for the LCS to come back is I've gotten so much better at making content that I do think that I can make some a lot better content coming into next split, whether it's interviews or videos, or I've also made more connections, which means I can probably get higher quality stuff because I have more people involved. I can do a lot of collaborations and whatnot. I think I have like a bunch of people that I've opened up their Twitters yesterday night for me to message them in order to like talk to them and have them like yeah, just talk to them. Whether some people it's like, "Hey, I wanna learn from you," or I wanna discuss some of this stuff because what you do is really cool, and I would love to just talk to you about it. And there are people who are like, "Hey, is there any way we could collab, for stuff like this?" I did try to talk like, speaking of collaborations that are a little bit further apart, I did message some people who are, like, making music in the scene. I messaged some people who did, what's it called? Like Dr. K, I don't know if you know him. Some of the stuff he does, I kind of disagree with. Some of the stuff is like pretty cool, but I did want to like bring him on. I did bring Dr. Respawn, Dr. Jordan, to talk about like physical therapy and like some injuries. A cool story that he said he watched Blabber play one time, a scrim, and he like didn't blink for like what was it, 2 minutes straight or something. I don't remember exactly the time, but he didn't blink at all. And just like cool little anecdotes that you get from people who might be in the medical field. There was another person that I had reached out to. I don't remember now, but it was before I traveled. I didn't hear back from any of these people, but you never know. So yeah, there's a bunch of collabs that I want to do for very specific reasons. Also, my thumbnails. I found someone who's been helping me a lot with thumbnails, so you can see that my thumbnails are a lot more professional and better made. So I'm excited for the split to start. I also have like these mini movies that I'm making. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep making them, but at least for the spring split, if you watch like what I was doing yesterday with my stream, where I was just like editing. Is there a specific reason why you said you might not do interviews next split? Um, yes, there's a specific reason. I think it's because I don't know where MSI is gonna take me. Um, like right now, I'm gonna be focused on making videos and maybe streaming a little bit. And if I find that I find a niche that I really enjoy, I might not do interviews. So um, the thing with interviews is that I don't want to post on my YouTube channel like twice a day, and I might just do less interviews. I should have probably said it that way. I might do less interviews because I might wanna have, like, one day where I'm posting, like, a recap of the LCS of what happens or, like, a little animated movie of what happened. I think that would be really cool where if I were to make characters, so let's say, like, just, like, stick figures with, like, the colors of the team and then have them just, like, animate out or maybe, like, be, what like, a skit where you have, like, 100 thieves talking trash to, FlyQuest, and FlyQuest, like, smacks them down because FlyQuest beat them, stuff like that, and obviously that stuff takes time, um, and I only have a limited amount of time. Again, I work full time. If I was full time League, I would be doing everything, right? If this was my full time job, I would be doing everything, but right now it's not, so unfortunately, I'm not doing that, but I struggle to see a world where I'm not doing at least 1 to 2 interviews a week. Um, so yeah, at the very least, I will be doing 1 to 2 interviews a week, Robin. I think I just misspoke by saying I won't be doing any. I might be doing less is what I should have said. But yeah, there's a bunch of people in collabs. I gotcha. I do really get interviews this last bit, so I was kind of surprised. I like them too, honestly. I like the fact that I was able to ask questions that weren't commonly asked. I was able to ask like I wouldn't say rudimentary, but sort of like fan perspective of gameplay questions. And I think I found a pretty good um formula that I really enjoyed, which is like I ask a question about what just happened in the game. So I asked Berserker like when he went for that pentakill against Hundred Thieves, and that they could have. It looked like they could have ended, but they didn't. Like I asked him that question because it was like a question that was on my mind as a regular player. I don't have the pro player instinct of like it takes at least 20 seconds. The death timers have to be at least this long. Like it's not. We're not going to be able to finish. So I went for that last kill. Like I don't have that information on the top of my head. I'm just the viewer. So I asked those questions, like the lane swaps that happened between Team Liquid and Cloud9, where Team Liquid was like running them across the map. It was like, we haven't seen lane swaps in years. Why are we seeing lane swaps? And I just asked, if I'm not mistaken, was it Jan who I asked about the lane swaps? I think so. It was Jan. And he was just like, oh, there was a very specific draft and a very specific situation within that draft that makes that good. And because we did that, we were able to do this, this, and this. So it was really cool to learn about that kind of stuff. And then after game questions, I ask about like whatever the big topic is. So for Cloud9, it was like, you guys suck. What's going on? For Team Liquid, it was I don't even remember anymore. Oh yeah, the pressure of being on like such a high intensity team. Like Impact is known to be a very very serious player, and it's like not the best environment. Like Jan, you had improvement. You've improved all the way up until Worlds, and then crashed and burned. Like you were. I didn't say you were the reason you lost against T1, but I kind of hinted at it. So what happened there? So I just asked questions that I'm personally curious about. That's actually why I got into interviewing. I had questions I wanted to ask, so I asked them. Um, and I can only assume that I'll have more questions. The one that I didn't know if I was going to be doing interviews or not is MSI. I'm not sure how like I'm not going to China, and I'm not sure if they're going to have like remote interviews. But it would be really cool to do interviews for MSI. That I would really like to, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to begin with. Um, since I'm not going there personally. I know if I were to go there, I'd be able to, but I I can't go. So um, yeah, there's a lot of content that I want to create, and there's only a limited amount of like slots that I can put them in, and a limited amount of time that I can work on. As obviously as I work more and more on these videos, I can finish them faster and faster because I learn more and I become better at it. So like the interviews just take me longer to edit. Now they take me a lot shorter because I figured out how to do them. That's why there was some point where I was doing like two a day and posting them because I just got better at them. Um, but yeah, I think I talked the topic to death about why I think LCS content, like collaborations, is why LCS content is doing so well. It's because they're not collaborating enough. That's one reason. Um, but that's something that I learned about content creation as well from way long ago when I was like studying marketing and whatnot, and how people actually do it is cross pollination is really useful. Honestly, kind of hopeful overall about the future. I feel like there are suddenly a lot of new small creators. Yes, I agree. Around LCS, it'd be interesting to see how things not all doom and gloom. I completely agree. I think that there are a lot of small creators that Sharpie is one of them. I think he took a break for a while, but he's back. There's Mad Magical. I would love to um, let me Mad Magical. Just link his stream. If you haven't watched him, he's the next Captain Flowers. And I don't say that about everyone, but he's the next Captain Flowers. So if you have not checked out his stuff, I highly recommend you checking him out. He's someone I've worked with as well. Like I reached out to him because yeah, I know that he's dedicated. He's like always posting shorts. You can see like if you just look at where he started from like 3 months ago and where he is now, um, he's clearly like he is always taking feedback. He's always working on his shorts. He's working on how to improve his like actual casting. He does like double speed casting. He's done times four casting before. There was like I was watching his stream one time and he didn't realize he was like casting at four times the speed. He was casting like the Champs Q games back in the preseason, and he was straight up, or what we didn't have preseason, but you know what I mean. He was straight up casting fights at four times speed, like Captain Flowers, like rap god style of stuff. I just looked at his YouTube channel. I know it's good, but yes, he has the caster's voice. He is. Trust me, this guy is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see him on the LCS stage. Um, but yeah, he had like a couple hundred subscribers, and within a few months he's at 700. I think it's really good. He's dedicated to it, and yeah, I just check him out. If you enjoy his stuff, subscribe. If not, don't. Like it's not subscribing and then not watching his stuff doesn't really help. It's just if you enjoy his stuff, watch it. He's pretty funny as well, and he's very lighthearted. He's very kind is one thing that I will say. I don't know a lot about other casters, like how they are day to day. I've obviously interacted with this guy a lot, but he's kind, and I like that. So that's a small creator that I can sort of on the same boat as myself that I can shout out. I don't know about anyone else off the top of my head. This I said about the league getting smaller, not really being a bad thing. Feels more grassroots. Yes, absolutely. This is something David has like been talking about, and I've also talked about it. He talked about it before I did. I didn't know he talked about it, but I went back to watch his stuff, and like he's been talking about it for a long time. Like we grew the league way too fast. League was growing, and instead of being like, "Hey, these are the people that are growing it," we were like, "Okay, now we're doing these huge things," and then kind of lost all the grassroots stuff. And I'm really happy that it's going back to grassroots. And I really think that Shibby is another person um, who does interviews. Where is he? He's another interviewer who Shibby Casts, I think is his handle. Oh, it's just Shibby. He does a bunch of interviews as well. He does what's it called? He also actually casts, so he's another caster slash interviewer. I check him out. Some of his interviews are pretty cool. Um, Anyone else I can think of off the top of my head? Not really. I already linked David earlier. But yeah, there's a lot of grassroots people who are like not in it. The other thing is like a lot of people were coming in to the scene and just wanted the money, and they either got it and then left or didn't get it and left. And a lot of people like myself, David, like Mad Magical, were not necessarily in it for the money. Like David and I have full-time jobs. I got into lead in 2016, 2017. In retrospect, some of the middle years felt like kind of empty. Yes, absolutely. Like there were just a lot of money into the system, and we didn't use that money to make people have emotional connections with things and players, right? And a lot of players that we were emotionally connected to, we were connected to beforehand. So Bjergsen, everyone loved him from 2015. Doublelift, most popular AD carry in 2015, right? When 2018, when the money came in, it wasn't like Bjergsen and Doublelift all of a sudden are new people that people are like, going behind. They were already popular. So um, I do think that as money came in, it did your description was so accurate, Robin, where it's like it just felt empty, even though it was bigger, but it was artificial. And we pumped a bunch of money. We forced teams to take on millions of dollars in debt because Riot wanted this like franchise model. And you put teams in a situation where unless their organization were to times 100, they're not going to be able to make back what they promised their investors. And you put them in an impossible situation. And so the reason that teams this is a big part of why things happen this way. A big part of the reasons why teams were like, we're not worried about building a big fan base is because it doesn't matter, right? You're in debt. And the only thing that you can do to swim is to get the valuation go from $10 million to $100 million. That's the only thing you can do. Building a fan base does not do that. It might take you from 10 to 20, but that's not what you need. You need like 100 million because that's what you promised your investors because that's Riot's vision. And that's the only way you're able to get that money. And so it put them in a very difficult position. And I don't blame them that they're waiting until 2024 to start and building fan bases again, like they used to do in 2015, 2014, 2013, even 2012. Um, and so, yeah, it kind of sucks, but I do think, like you said, it's a good thing that we're back grassroots. There's the people who just like it's for the love of the game. I don't know if Shibby has a full time job, but I'm assuming he does. Mad Magical, I know he works somewhere. Like, there's a lot of people who we already have our income from somewhere else. We're doing this because the love of the game, love of the craft, love of the scene, and we just want to see it flourish. And I think that those are the type of people that you want in the scene. You don't want the people that come in, find an investor, be like, "Oh my god, look at the league scene. We're gonna start a show like Yahoo Esports. We're gonna do this, that, this big thing." It doesn't blow up the way they expected it to, and then they just like crash and burn. There's so many interviews that I've watched from people who just disappeared off the face of the planet, deleted their Twitter accounts. YouTube is the only thing that exists. And you look at what they said, like, "Hey, we're gonna be the next, like, Travis Gafford. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that," and then it doesn't work for them 6 months later, like a year later, they just disappear, and it's quite sad. And hopefully that, like, obviously David has been involved for much longer. That's not going to be him. That's not going to be me. And that's hopefully not going to be Mad Magical. I think he has a very big career um, ahead of him. I think he's like he's someone who will make it. I can gamble on that. I think I will make it myself. I will gamble on Mad Magical. Um, and yeah, yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Quick TLDR. Where is it? So that I can come back to it at the end of the stream, make sure I talked about everything. Quick TLDR, we don't collaborate enough. The reason I watched Smash for years was because Leffen and Mango had appeared on the LCS with Cloud9 and TSM. We need to do more stuff like that. The people that understood it are people, the chess streamers who brought in people like Pokimane and Lily Pichu and like Bjergsen at some point, and just brought different games, different genres, brought all these people to play chess and brought a lot of eyeballs onto the chess, and that's part of what caused the chess bubble to explode back in 2020. So I do think that we need more of that, and until we do that, um, until if we keep doing what we're doing, we're not going to see much revival, and that's part of the reason that LCS is dying. So hopefully, um, I can be a role model for people to show them that this you can do it this way, and you can thrive using this strategy. And I will try to do it myself and thrive as well, so that I can give live examples to people. Yeah, that's everything. Thank you for hanging out, Silly Shadow, Robbins, everyone else that stopped by as well. Um, hopefully, it made sense, and thank you for chatting back and forth. And I will see you guys later. Enjoy the stream. Thanks, man. All right, take care.